Sometimes I'm getting, then again I'm losing. Sometimes I'm rising, yes sir, then again I'm falling. Sometimes I'm getting, then again I'm losing. Sometimes I'm rising, yes sir, then again I'm falling. Let Jesus work it out. Peace of Father would work it out. Oh, let God work it out. Peace of Father would work it out. Oh, let God work it out. Peace of Father would work it out. Oh, let God work it out. Oh, work it out. You work it out for Mother Lisa. Sometimes I'm getting, then again I'm losing. Sometimes I'm rising, yes sir, then again I'm falling. Sometimes I'm getting, then again I'm losing. Sometimes I'm rising, yes sir, then again I'm falling. Let Jesus work it out. Peace of Father would work it out. Oh, let God work it out. Peace of Father would work it out. Oh, let God work it out. Need some father would work it out. Oh, let God work it out. Oh, boy. Work it out. You work it out for mother.
Every night I lay to sleep, I pray to the Lord, my soul you keep. If I should die before I wake, I pray to the Lord, my soul you take. Every night I lay to sleep, I pray to the Lord, my soul you keep. If I should die before I wake, I pray to the Lord, my soul you take. Oh, Jesus, only in your heart. Please, only in your heart. is holy. In your everlasting.
All right. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is David Patrick Harry with Church of the Eternal Logos. And tonight, we got a fun stream tonight. We're going to be discussing the anatomy of the simp and why weak men worship women. So to begin, I got a few points. I got my top 5 characteristics that I've come up with in regards to what sort of characterizes a simpy man. Sometimes I guess could also be categorized as a beta male. And I got a list of behaviors that I think we all should avoid, especially in the age of OnlyFans girls, e-thoughts, and everything else that's going on in our culture. So I saw some people in the chat say this is the war of our day, talking about simps. And I guess the question is to simp or not to simp. And the answer is always do not simp. And I'm going to lay out exactly why simping not only is detrimental to the person who's doing the simping, but has a corrosive effect on society as a whole. And then we're going to get into, I found an example. I got a few examples of some simpy men, but one in particular is a 10-minute clip with Jesse Lee Peterson. Do not endorse his theology. However, he has a very simpy beta male on his show, and they have about a 10-minute, just a snippet. It was like 10 minutes. It was kind of going around X. And so we're going to watch that to give an example. I got a kind of a funny YouTube video, and then we're going to be scouring the degenerate bottoms of TikTok to see more on the promotion of simping by particularly sex workers. There's a few that I think we're going around. Of course, every day when you put in something on TikTok, I searched that all yesterday. The videos can change based on who uploads stuff. But I saw one who was like an OnlyFans girl, and she was talking about how she loves simps, and that, you know, a true woman loves simps, and if more men were simps, then more women would be happy. And it's like, no, not exactly the case. So we're going to be getting into all types of stuff today. So feel free, if you guys want to send in some questions or comments, please use the Streamlabs or the Dono chat links. Or if you prefer to use YouTube, you can use YouTube as well. And if you're feeling generous, gift some COTEL Crew memberships. I know the people in the chat always appreciate that. Somebody asked if I was going to talk about Destiny. I mean, Destiny could certainly be considered a simp. I mean, one of the things that I'll bring up is polyamorous and open relationships and how this is a characteristic of a simpy beta male behavior. Kind of contrary to the way they frame it, right? They say if you're an insecure man and you have all these festering insecurities within yourselves, then you're going to try to control a woman. It's like, no, I don't think I have an insecurity because I want my woman to be monogamous with me and have definitive boundaries that I'm going to uphold and defend. And if the person I'm with crosses those boundaries, well, then that's a sign of disrespect, and that's going to be a major problem in the relationship. So we're going to get into some of that stuff. I don't have much on Destiny, but dude, he's definitely a simp. And there's videos that I saw recently, because I don't follow the Destiny stuff too closely, but I did see videos of one of the guys, I think he was Muslim, who she cheated, or I guess not cheated because they're in an open relationship, that his ex slept with and had sexual relationships with while they were quote unquote together. They were engaged. Did they get married? I think they actually got married. So they're in a marriage, and she was sleeping with this Muslim guy or something. And many people were speculating this is why Destiny is so pro-Israel of late, because he's angry with the fact that his ex-wife was actually more interested in more masculine men and had a stronger desire to be with them. And that caused him to be a little bit jealous and caused him to be a little bit irate. And so now he's on this crusade to defend Israel against all things. And people highlighted that even that like tranny dude that she went to meet up with in Sweden, I guess he's also of might be Palestinian descent or some type of Arab Muslim descent. And so Destiny got screwed twice by his ex-wife being interested in, and I mean, I don't know if you guys saw the other guy that she met up with in Sweden. He was like wearing a dress, so not exactly masculine, but to some degree more attractive to her than Destiny was. So we're going to be talking about why you need to avoid anything like this. And somebody also asked about Nala, the OnlyFans porn star who has recently come to Christ. And I just want to, I'll give a little bit of my opinion on that. I don't have anything specifically set up to talk about Nala tonight. Although when we're talking about, yeah, Crispy's on Slim Patrol. Hey, I was thinking about pulling up the video of PewDiePie when he's like, Simp, the meme that's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. Actually, in preparation, I was like, man, I need to get a simp emoji that just says simp on it. So whenever we're watching something and we see simpy behavior, people can be on Simp Patrol right here in the live chat. So that might be the next emoji. So I need to get more memberships. I need more gifting of some memberships. And then we can add another emoji. And I think simp is appropriate. I think simp is the next one for sure. Yeah, we got beta. Thank you, Byron. We got betas in the chat. And I mean, you can't be a simp without, to some degree, being a beta, although not always overlap, right? You could be a simpy man and then from, red pill or various material metrics, maybe you have money, you have social status, and yet you're still a simp. And ultimately, what I think the outcome is when we look at this behavior is that women aren't attracted to those men and lose interest. And that's going to be the case when we look at my ultimate example of a simp with Jesse Lee Peterson. I mean, this guy doesn't get it. He doesn't get it. But with the Nala thing, right? So Nala, for those of you who aren't aware, this has kind of been dominating the interwebs, specifically X, formerly known as Twitter, that there's girl who was a porn star, sex worker on OnlyFans and was very viral for her. I don't even know what it's called. It's like a face they make that's sort of like girly. I think there was is it Bella or something like that? Or I don't know. Some chick that's kind of dressed up like an anime character. And they make this face. It's like a coon face or something when somebody's supposed to, again, pardon the vulgarity, but ejaculate on their face. And so she went viral for doing this all the time. I forget what. Oh, Owego. That's what it is. Thank you. Thank you, Sean. The Owego face. I don't know what it is. Yeah. Shout out to Elon Muskrat. Yeah. So I don't know, but she was all over the internet doing this stuff. And then I know one debate that Andrew from the Crucible was on the Whatever podcast, that the Nala chick was also on that podcast. And she, I guess, the last couple months or so has said that she has come to Christ. Now, on that podcast, she talked about how, she on multiple podcasts, how she loves to cheat on her boyfriends, how it's like that's a high for her, how she's really into degenerate, sexuality. I'm not even going to get into any of the details about stuff that she's discussed, but then that she would even give her, so her parents didn't approve of her sex work, but then yet she made so much money. And according to her, she's made $9 million on OnlyFans that she would pay her father, who formerly was a Christian evangelical or Protestant pastor, had some little church. I don't know if he's fallen out of the faith or what, but she basically kind of said, well, he's somewhat okay with it because I send them a check, I don't know, monthly to her parents. And in the last couple months, she claims that she has come to Christ. She's had a turning of a leaf and she got baptized. Now, I don't even know if it was a Trinitarian baptism. Wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't. But she's gone on all these podcasts, and one of the more prominent ones recently was a conversation with Michael Knowles of the Daily Wire, who is a staunch Catholic. And she claims that she, ended all this work, but I have seen, again, I don't know, and Christ can save anybody. You have to repent, though, right? This is this thing where all the SJWs and the progressives want to try to criticize the hypocrisy of Christians, because we don't think somebody is, let's say, in the right relationship with God when they're participating in all these activities. They say, oh, well, you just have to love. You're judging, right? Aren't you a Christian? You're not supposed to judge. Well, we're not supposed to judge people's salvation, their fate. We don't know. We don't know their context. But we can certainly judge degenerate activities and behaviors that are immoral and go and stand against our entire Christian ethos. And so her sex work on OnlyFans is degenerate, or at least was. Now, she claims she deleted it, but then all these posts on social media were highlighting that she didn't delete it. And from what I saw yesterday, don't know if it's truth, but she's done multiple presentations now and interviews claiming that she's a Christian and she's done with all this stuff. But she has like a secret Telegram group, and all the people who subscribe to her OnlyFans that were like top tier members, which is I think like $50 a month members, can now contact her on her private Telegram, and she was still sending out photos and videos of her sex work from my understanding, within the last week. So is it a sincere conversion? I don't know. Seems like, although I don't know the full context, seems like that there's evidence that it's not, that it potentially is a grift, and that she's potentially just becoming even more famous by this conversion to Christianity. And but if she did delete the OnlyFans, if she is sincere in her heart and her repentance, can she be saved? Absolutely. And can she be welcomed in the Christian community? Absolutely. But I do have speculations about the sincerity, especially with some of the stuff I saw, because I think somebody who leaked it was in fact like one of these $50 top tier members on her OnlyFans, and posted screenshots of, if you are a $50 member, you can now send her more money for access to videos and photos. And so she's basically just moved it into a private group. And if that is the case, well, then it's a total grift. And she hasn't repented at all. And she's still a sex worker, and she's still making money off simps. And that's the point of today's conversation, is the simp, and why simps are absolutely deleterious to our society. And this is why it's important to criticize simps, because we can criticize women for, especially the modern woman, for the way that they are portraying themselves, sex work, body positivity, abortions, all this progressive ideology. No doubt about that. But as I said, and some guys get upset when I say what ultimately the deterioration of Western society rests upon men, and they'll say, well, what about the 19th Amendment? It's like, well, who allowed it? Who's allowed abortion to become, so prominent in Western culture, specifically in America? Who's allowed, transgenderism? It's ultimately comes down to men. It comes down to a theology of boundaries, which we're going to discuss. But we need to criticize simps, because if simps stop giving money to sex workers, particularly these OnlyFans and e-girls, well, that entire industry is going to dry up. And that's what we need. But the fact that Nala can make $9 million within a couple of years by posting naked photos and porn on her OnlyFans shows that we have a serious problem in our society. And the serious problem is the simp. So we got a lot to get into. The second half is going to be a lot more fun. We got plenty of videos. And if you have a great simp-oriented video or TikTok, send it to me. We'll play it in the second half. So that's what we're going to into. Smash that like, guys. Appreciate all you for being here. We got a nice little Thursday night stream. Should be a lot of fun. It's not going to be highly intellectual. So appreciate all you guys being here. Smash that like. First thing is take care of a little bit of housekeeping. Always want to highlight that one of the best ways you guys can support my work is by going over to the website and becoming a website member. So for $5 a month, you'll get access to an exclusive video library, of which my most recent video is the video on the red heifers in Israel, everything you need to know, in which I cover Jewish prophecy, their belief in the third temple, the necessity for the red heifers in relationship to Old Testament um, understandings of the forgiveness of sin and ritual purity. So if you want to look into that, it's a 53-minute video, and I got tons of videos. So if you go to the education, talk about Christ as King, whether it's anti-Semitic, all types of stuff regarding our faith, and some of it's a little bit more controversial than others. But I got some more stuff that'll be posting in the next week. So that's a great way you can support my work by going over there just for $5 a month. We also have a fitness group as well as a premium members think tank where we get together every 2 weeks in a private Zoom meeting and we talk about really the latest happenings around the world, prophecy. One of the things that I want to do a stream on in the near future here is the eschatological visions of the blessed and looking at what the saints of our church and the church fathers have prophesied about the end times, because interestingly enough, many things are occurring, especially when we look at the war between Israel and Palestine and Ukraine and Russia, the resurgence of the animosity between Iran and Israel, how Russia and China is going to relate to all this. It's interesting that some of our church fathers have already speculated and prophesied about some of the interworkings of these things. So I'm going to hopefully be doing a stream on that in the near future. But you can support my work there. Also, if anybody is interested in signing up for a one-on-one session where we get into a private Zoom meeting and we can talk about anything that you particularly want to discuss, be it philosophy, history, theology, esoteric traditions, magic, goal setting, bodybuilding, whatever it may be, we can do so in a private Zoom meeting there. And if you'd be interested in sponsoring a stream, we got a few streams. The next one that I'll be doing is the historical overview of democracy, rule of the mob, and why that is good or bad in certain circumstances, how it related to ancient Greece, how it spread around the world, how it was essential to part of the American Democratic Republic, if you will, at least our republic, and why it's been detrimental and been very useful for the agenda of the progressive globalist movement, or you could say some of the global elites. So that's going to be next. If you have a topic that you would like to do for me to do a stream on, you can do so right there. Also, like I said, we got some new merch that's going to be coming. One of that I'm working on here. We just got this new logo. It's Christ is King. And I got another one that I haven't made the t-shirt. I got to work on my website. One of my plugins is all messed up. But you can see here, this is a Christ is King. We got the Jerusalem crossed over the eyes, and we got a Trinitarian representative with lion heads and a crown. So more of that to come. I got more designs. So we should have multiple new t-shirts and sweatshirts up at the website. And you can check out what we already got up by even going to YouTube and clicking the store link, and you'll see a lot of different items pop up there. So and last thing, if you guys are in the market for some Orthodox merchandise, also check out orthodoxdepot.com. Orthodoxdepot.com. It's an Orthodox company right here in the Midwest. Use promo code COTEL. You get 10% off. You'll be able to help me out, and you'll be able to help a good Orthodox company out. So if you're looking for items, be it icons, incense, prayer ropes, whatever it may be, check them out. See if they have what you're looking for. And if they do, use promo code COTEL. Okay, guys. So now let's get into the phenomenon of the simp. I got a lot of things that I want to hit here to begin with. And so before I get into the characteristics and the behavior patterns that I've seen, or at least I wrote down, because this is really just my own take of looking at the phenomenon, okay? I want to give a sort of theological perspective on why I think it's important to engage in this conversation and present a traditionally masculine understanding of sexual dynamics and how men should operate in relationship to women. Because the simp, if you guys aren't aware, actually stands, it's an acronym. So people, I was looking into like, where does it come from? And many people said, it comes from the term simpleton, like a simple-minded person. But upon deeper research, what I found is it actually means a sucker idolizing mediocre, and I'm going to change the last word to poontang. And it's another word that starts with P. You can imagine what it is. But just to keep the channel PG rated, you get what it is. So it's a sucker idolizing mediocre poontang. We'll put it that way. And that is actually what simp means. It's an acronym of a man idolizing a woman based on the hope of sexual intercourse or sexual activity or some type of sexual openness to her. This is, again, why it's going to be tied with the OnlyFans phenomenon. Why? Yeah, Punani. Thank you, Ortho Eric. Really appreciate that. Exactly. So I first want to start by highlighting something that you've heard me reiterate multiple times, and that is looking at the fall of mankind itself. And I've sort of tongue-in-cheek, and I've even said this to other priests and clergies that have been on the channel, that in a way, Adam was the first simp. Now, not a simp in the way that was just described in regards to idolizing Punani or Poontang, but in regards to listening to a woman at the detriment of his duty and obligation to God. So Adam, as we know, the serpent tempted Eve first. Some can speculate why that may be. I think there's a reason that women are a little bit more worldly, and to in some degree that's beneficial when it comes to childcare, nurturing, those types of things. But Adam knew that they were not supposed to eat from the tree of knowledge, right? The tree of good and evil. And the serpent tempted Eve to do so, of which she knew she wasn't supposed to, but she did delight into that temptation. And when Adam came around, of which creation didn't fall when Eve ate the apple, creation fell when Adam ate the apple. Again, another importance in regards to patriarchy and the patriarchal tradition within the church while men are clergy. I think this has explicit biblical foundations. Obviously, everything the church does is biblical, but men are supposed to be a little bit more resistant to worldly temptations. But what does Adam do? He listens to Adam or Eve's request for him to also eat from the tree of knowledge. And what happens? It falls. He falls, and the entire creation falls. And so a man who is not a simp needs to have his eyes focused on God, focused on his purpose, and focused on his goals. That's his duty. And that's also what makes him virtuous. None of us look at, oh, welcome, Crucible Crew. Welcome, Crucible Crew, for the raid. God bless. Good to see everybody. I know Andrew was just in a lively debate with a relativist. So good to see all you guys here. Welcome to Church of the Eternal Logos. We are diving into the anatomy of the simp tonight. And so we're going to be looking at examples of simpy beta male behavior coming up here in just a few. But what you just jumped in as I was going to my little opening monologue here, trying to frame the conversation of the simp and why I think that it actually has theological foundations. And so I began with Adam being the first simp in the sense that he listened to Eve and did something that he knew he was not supposed to do. This led to the entire fall of mankind. And when we look at simpy male behavior, we're looking at the entire fall of Western society. And yes, it is blame goes around in multiple ways. So it's not just that the ill state of our society is totally based on men, but if men were never simps, if men were never betas, if men stood up for their traditional values, we wouldn't be in the position we are today. And so the role of a traditional man is to lead, protect, and provide. And we'll see that a simp and a beta male does none of these. He does not lead, he does not protect, and he does not provide for the women. But the providing, in a sense, that's where they try to compete. And I'm going to talk about this in my fourth point here. So strong societies, I argue, cultures and nations are built on strong men, men with values and men that uphold their duties, their responsibilities, and not pursuing pleasure. When we look at the simp, when we look at the beta male, we're going to find men that are controlled and ruled by pleasure and seeking pleasure. And this is externalized to trying to accommodate everything to a woman to make sure that she also is happy and has all her pleasure. We're going to see the exact same thing occur with the simp. And so when we look at the Western man, historically, it was about ancestral honor, the maintaining the honor and upholding the honor of your fathers and your fathers' fathers and your fathers' fathers' fathers, and having a sense of courage and bravery, and again, values, virtues, and duties that you're going to stand up against those which threaten your people, those which threaten your ancestral line. What we have today is nobody thinks in regards to ancestral honor. They think about individual pleasure, and this atomizing, this divorcing of people from their heritage and their communities is why then people, one, they lack meaning, they lack community, they lack structure. And where do they find meaning? They find it in pleasure. And this is part and parcel of the simp phenomenon. So virtuous, righteous women, according to scripture, is a gift that is greater than gold. How can you find it? I believe the quote is it's greater than rubies. But as we look at simpy behavior, as men become weak and less virtuous and less dutiful, the women become more degenerate, more promiscuous, more sex workers, more porn stars. And so the women that are virtuous and righteous are harder and harder to find than ever before. And so weak, simpy men are praising women to become the opposite of what a biblical worldview would ask a woman to be. They're praising women for, oh, look how independent you are. You go, girl. Oh, you want to murder your children? Oh, well, go ahead. I'm all for, you're right. You're right. Meaning abortion, aborting children. I mean, even in late stages, what we've seen people argue for. We see all these young women who are actually killing their infants and their toddlers. We're in a society of death right now. And so these simps are actually perpetuating, validating, and honoring women to do the opposite of what is being asked for from a biblical perspective. And so women, and this is a point, I got multiple articles, even psychological articles, talking about how women seek attention. And this is a point that I would totally agree with regards to the red pill phenomenon, is that their attention is currency for women. Now, a good woman really only wants the attention from a man she respects. But I would argue that one of the detrimental effects of social media is that women, basic women, and I'm not here to just judge the looks of women, but we'll say like 4, 5s, and 6s, even 7s, can post photos on the internet and get unlimited attention from men. That totally inflates their perception and their value of themselves. And it is absolutely detrimental to them actually doing what is innate to them and seeking the attention and validation from a man that they actually respect. Because what they're getting is attention from the men that they know that they don't respect. And this is part of the simp behavior. And I'm going to highlight one of my points is that a simp likes, comments, and compliments women on their social media posts. Do not do this. Do not do this. Do not, if a woman posts one of these random photos with their cleavage out with some random quote, do not like the photo. That is currency. That is energy. Ignore it. Block it. Do not post a compliment. I even see this, unfortunately, in some of the Orthodox community. That maybe an Orthodox girl, maybe not even totally conscious of herself, a Christian girl will post a photo seeking a little bit of attention and validation. And what do I see? I always go through the comments and see who is saying something. So some of you guys, I've caught you because I always look to try to see who's engaging with this stuff, who is contributing to simpy male behavior. And I see these guys, always give them compliments. Stop it. Stop it. Do not do that. And so because they give them this unlimited sense of attention, women have inflated perceptions of themselves. And then in conjunction with that, they have all these hookup apps, these dating apps, be it Tinder or Bumble. I don't use any of them. I'm happily engaged. But these girls will go on these apps and then they'll be able to sleep with, let's say a man is an 8, 9, or a 10. And then they have even higher inflated expectations because they think a man of that stature wants to marry a woman of their stature, which isn't the case because men aren't like that. Men can have sex and have no emotional attachment to the person. And as we see what radical feminism has done and turned women into men, women are going against their biology, against their own hormone system, against the production of oxytocin when they actually sleep with a man. They break off the ability to pair bond. And in turn, they're becoming more and more like men, even in regards to sexual activity. So women have inflated self-perception due to online attention and hookup apps. That's a fact. And then women truly want attention from men that they respect, but there's so few men who are willing to be the type of man that a woman would respect because of the simps. Now, of course, anybody here, it's not you guys at all, right? Not you guys. But instead of traditional safety, this was something I found looking at some of these OnlyFans girls talking about simps and how much they love simps. And I found one girl talking about, oh, well, I feel safe when I'm with the simp, or I feel safe with a man who worships me. Okay, so I'm engaged. I've seen successful relationships. I've seen marriages, and a woman does want to feel safe. But a woman wants to feel safe because the man is a masculine leader, a masculine provider, and a masculine protector. That's what makes them feel safe. But because of this inverted world that we live in through social media, women are finding safety not in regards to those characteristics. They're finding safety in regards to getting a man that they know they can dominate, that they know they'll be able to step all over, and a man that they know will never leave them no matter what they do. Oh, I want to be in an open relationship. I think it's time for us to be poly. How many times have you seen this? And one of the videos that we're going to watch is a man doing exactly that. He starts being upset that his longtime girlfriend of 6 years left him for a more masculine guy. And he thought, I would never engage in toxic masculinity. It's like, bro, that's why she left you. Because women are innate. They want these things. But because of the simp culture, because of the simp apocalypse, because of the simp phenomenon, women are finding safety in the fact that you are not threatening, and other women probably won't find you attractive. And so that's why they get with him and they walk all over him. And I would say that's exactly the phenomenon with Destiny. That's what happened with him. As we opened the show and we talked about the Muslim guy that she was sleeping with while they were married, who she had more attraction to, was traditionally masculine. Now, I'm not endorsing his sexual behavior with her, but the facts is a fact. You know, Destiny is not masculine. This blue-haired dwarf who's so little and promotes every degenerate thing that you can imagine, why would a woman want to be with him? So women have the institutional leverage, and this is where the red pill, and again, I would say people like myself and Rachel and Andrew and probably Dyer, other people that have talked about this topic get it right, is that they have the institutional leverage in society. Number one, divorce courts. The red pill talks a lot about the detriments of marriage and secular marriage, sure. Because in a secular marriage, if the woman isn't submitting to God, why the hell would she submit to you? And most of the time they didn't. And most of the time they got into a marriage because it's like culturally convenient, or they want to have their beautiful wedding day and spend all this different money. But the man never ever vetted her and actually made sure that the dynamics of the relationship were traditional, so that if she submits to me, she's also submitting to Christ, she's submitting to God, she's submitting to the church, and that's going to bring all this stuff together. And so secular marriage is on a dramatic downfall. No surprise there. But women have institutional leverage in a multiple different ways. They get easier admissions to universities. That's a fact. I watched a video just yesterday of a university professor at Berkeley, where I did my schooling and my graduate school work. And he was talking about how, he didn't know he was being recorded, by the way, but he was telling the class full of people that, hey, don't say any of this stuff out loud. But yeah, we absolutely, in regards to DEI, because he was upset with some of the criticisms recently of the DEI hires and all this stuff. Well, it's totally okay for us to hire people, particularly professors, just based on whether they're a woman, whether they're in the alphabet group, or whether they're a minority. and basically said, yeah, we're open. We just can't say it out loud anymore. We can't say out loud that we won't hire a straight white Christian male, but it's okay to do so, meaning don't hire them. It's okay not to hire them. Just let's not say it out loud anymore. Let's speak a little bit more quietly about what we're actually up to. So women have institutional leverages in university admissions. They have institutional leverage in job, receiving different job opportunities than men do. I mean, and I know I'm in the university. I'm trained as an academic. I don't have a shot. One, but this YouTube channel, everything that I talk about doesn't help. But I'm a traditional Orthodox Christian white man from the Midwest. Unless it's a Christian private school, I have no shot at getting hired at a public university because all this stuff's already there. So women have an institutional leverage in regards to jobs, corporate opportunities. Again, these corporations, based on the metrics of who they've hired, they get tax deductions from the banks. They have institutional leverage in regards to scholarships, in regards to funding opportunities. I would imagine in regards to government loans and other financial opportunities. And so the simp leverage, so this was I was thinking about what exactly is the leverage a simp has in regards to relationships, because he can't compete as a leader. Because I have one of the things written down is that they're not leaders. That's one of the primary characteristics of a simp. So the way that they have leverage is that they try to provide pleasure to the woman through money and attention and compliments. And their leverage is, at least in the simp mind, I was trying to think as a simp, if I pull that away, well, then that's me having leverage. So, well, you better like me and you better accept me, or I'm going to take away all my gifts, all my money, all my compliments, and all the attention that I adore you with. That's not leverage, bro. That's not leverage, but that is the simp leverage. Provide as many compliments, financial benefits, and happiness as possible. And so women want traditional qualities, and they're searching for them in new ways. As I said, the search for safety now is finding a man who's non-threatening and most likely won't find another woman to replace you with. So therefore, they want a man that they can dominate and walk all over. And more isolation than ever before, because one of the things that is a fact that social media has done is it's isolated us more than ever before. We are more isolated. We have weaker communities. People have less amount of friends. They have less interaction face to face with people. And even in regards to dating, the primary way in which people meet are now online. And I was looking, up at articles for this stream, and people like mainstream articles talking about what a simp is, and they characterize it as it's these right-wing guys that are critical of guys that are nice to women. And so there's this right-wing movement that wants men to be hostile. It has nothing to do about being hostile to women. It has nothing to do with being hostile to women. It's about not accommodating everything possible to them. There's a big difference. But because men are so isolated, because young men, I looked at a thing earlier, I'm not going to show it during the stream, but how few men are willing to even walk up to a woman that they find attractive and talk to them face to face. That's why then that same man who won't go and talk to a woman face to face will see if she has an OnlyFans or see on her Instagram where she's posting her butt and boob photos, and then he'll DM her. He'll send her money. He'll try to do things that way because it's less threatening. And so the more isolation, men have become more reluctant to engage with women in traditional ways. Now, that is the theological frame and the sort of cultural frame I wanted to begin with. Now I want to give you my top 5 characteristics of what a simpy man is. Number one is the lack of boundaries. I've talked about this before, that masculinity in its essence is really about boundaries. When you look at the men that went to war, the men that were willing to die on a battlefield, the men that stood up for the religious beliefs, there was a boundary that they were defending. It could have been a theological boundary. It could have been a geographical boundary that was very physical, but they wanted to defend boundaries and maintain boundaries, and boundaries are essential for order. Boundaries are essential for rational apprehension. The Logos, the incarnation of Jesus Christ, is the source of all boundaries. And so because these men have no boundaries, they will capitulate to every demand a woman asks of them. And no woman No woman, despite even these OnlyFans girls, which we'll see that love simps, no woman respects a man that has no boundaries. And I've said before that masculinity, to use a metaphor, are the castle walls, where the jewels, the women and children inside the castle walls, those are protected by the men. But because men have become so weak and the walls have fallen down, the enemy's able to go in, and now he's able to, what the latest thing is, one of these men, these transgender guys, masturbates in the female locker room at Planet Fitness. Like, that's where we get that. The idea that there's no boundary between male and female, there's no boundary between nation states, there's no boundary between man and machine, there's no boundary between man and animal. Everything is a dissolution of boundaries. When we look at our societies, we have to see that this dissolution of boundaries is predominant, and that masculinity, this is why masculinity is being attacked, because the only thing that's going to stop the recession of boundaries is men standing on those boundaries saying, no, I'm not going to accept it. We're going to fight back. But the simp has no boundaries, and he rarely will be able to say no. You can't have a boundary and defend it without the ability to say no. And because the simp needs external validation, he will not say no to a woman. And therefore, he cannot uphold any boundary. And he will condone anything that even crosses boundaries that's wished by the woman. I saw a video from a dude in the UK who he was in this relationship with this girl. They're in their little apartment. His buddy was filming. And she's like, oh, I met a guy on Tinder. We're going to go on a date. And she's basically, it was her decision to be in an open relationship. And so he's like, oh, okay. All right, honey. Well, have a good night with him. And she ends up bringing the dude back to their own apartment. This is simpy beta male cucked behavior. Have a boundary. Stand up for something. If you don't have a boundary, your girl who's going to walk all over, especially if she's progressive, and she says, oh, I want to be in an open relationship now. I want to be in a polyamorous relationship now. You think that's going to work out well for you? Of course not. Of course not. And so the number one characteristic of a simp is he has no boundaries and he has no will to maintain them. The number two characteristic of a simp that I have is they are not a leader, but they are a follower. And that brings it back to, again, that opening conversation on what a traditional masculine man is. And he is a leader, a protector, and a provider. Now, being a leader doesn't mean that you're a leader of all men. But if you're a man and you want to get married, you have to be the leader of that household. And so every man needs to be a leader in some context. You may not be a leader at work. You may not be a leader financially in society. You may not be a leader in the hierarchies of the world. But when it comes to your household, you are king. You are the leader. You have the vision. You have the path. You have the purpose, and you have the goals. And so a beta has a difficulty making decisions because he's not a leader. He's a follower. And a person who makes ultimate decisions is always the leader. And so that's something when you're in a relationship, it's like a meme now where your girl asks you where, you ask her what you want to eat. Of course, they don't know. They're open to anything. And that's a really small, minute example, but a leader makes decisions, final decisions. Andrew highlighted this in regards to money and talking about on the Whatever podcast. I caught a little bit of the one a couple of days ago. And he was talking to one girl and highlighting that if your man who you respected, who you chose, who you believe is the person for you, and he tells you what we're going to do with the money and you disagree, are you going to let him do it? Are you going to be submissive to him? And most of the girls said no. Well, the man needs to be able to make those decisions. And the simp and the beta male and the cuck who's with that woman that says no, they're going to capitulate to that woman's desires. We have to be leaders. And really, a good, successful relationship is going to be built on this dynamic because every woman wants a leader. They want the man to make the decisions. But a simp can't do it. And so he will allow the woman to be the leader. And this is the feminist revolution in our society. You see, the sexual dynamics are reversed. Everything is inverted, which from my worldview as a Christian means it's satanic. Satan tries to invert the order of God. He tries to invert the logos. He tries to invert that which is true, good, and beautiful. And that's what we have going on in the Western world. And so he's not he's not a leader, he's a follower. He has no boundaries. Number 3 is he always accommodates to the woman. He always accommodates to the woman. And so pleasing a woman in her every desire becomes his biggest objective. Because why? As point number 2 highlighted, he already let her be the leader. She's in charge of the relationship. She's in charge of the dynamic. She's the boss babe. She's the girl boss. And he's just what? Her little lapdog. And so they always accommodate to the desires of a woman. And I'm not saying that a healthy relationship doesn't mean that you do nice things for your partner, for your wife, for your husband, for whoever you're with. But as a man, that's not my sole intention. My sole intention in life is not to appease every desire and every willful intention you have for the pursuit of happiness. That's not my purpose. My purpose is to be in line with God. My purpose is also to follow that God-given purpose and duty that I have. And in so of that pursuit, the woman follows and she likes that. She loves a man that does that. But a simp can't. A simp can only accommodate because, one, he's not a leader and he has no boundaries. He always accommodates, and therefore he thinks a woman will love him because all he wants to do is make her happy. A woman doesn't love a man because all he does is make her happy. Women, if you've been with a woman long enough, they go out of their way to make themselves unhappy, right? Women, generally speaking, can find, depending on the day, they're unhappy for something. You need to be in a steady, mental, healthy place. But you accommodating to every emotional whim that she has does not make her love you more. Now, in certain circumstances, okay, if your woman's sick, you want to help her out, you want to look over because she's ill, great. That's what, again, you're the leader, protector, and provider. But going out of your way and stepping all over your own ego and your own self-respect to do so, that is simpy behavior. Number 4 is low self-esteem and low self-respect. You cannot be a simp and not have low self-esteem and low self-respect, because they will dishonor themselves if it is the wish or desire of the woman. And perfect example is like a polyamorous or an open relationship. If you don't want to be in a polyamorous or open relationship and your girl says that's what she wants to do and you say no, and she says, well, I want to do it anyways, you say bye. You say, okay, I'm done. I'm out of here. I'm moving on. I don't need to accommodate to your desires. I have self-respect. I have a high self-esteem. I can go find somebody else. But the man who thinks he doesn't have options, the man who thinks he doesn't have enough self-esteem and self-respect, he will accommodate. He will accommodate. And so they will always get walked over by women and stronger men. A simp, a beta male, a cuck, they will always get walked over by all women that show interest in them and by stronger men. And they're not competitive. Simpy beta males are not competitive men. And so they view compliancy as a form of strength. And we saw this during the coup. We saw this during 2021 when the jibby jab came out. All these weak, progressive, effeminate men, they can't compete on you on a, in regards to worldly attributes, skill sets. Maybe you're a construction worker, maybe you're a plumber, maybe you're an art, whatever it is, whatever your skill set is. Men, we compete. And we then place ourselves in hierarchies of competency. But these beta males and these simps cannot compete. And so how do they compete? They compete through compliancy. That's why they got their extra boosters. You see, the ways in which they compete is through compliance. And this is a non-competitive, inverted form of competition. That's why they'll do anything that big government daddy says. And they will go along with any propaganda that's going on in the world because they're weak. They're weak and they can't compete. And because they don't have a boundary, they're not a leader, and they don't have enough self-respect, they can't say no to even the government. They can't say no to hormones for children. They can't say no to sexual deviant men in female locker rooms. They're compliant, and because they're compliant, they view that as a sort of strength, and they view that as them having leverage over you and me. And so number five characteristic of a simpy man is, we know the adage, bros before hoes. The simp is hoes before bros. And this is why they're untrustworthy. You cannot trust a man who is a simp, because a man who puts women before long-term friendships and family is a man you cannot trust, because he will sacrifice long-term relationships for any new woman who gives him attention and walks into his life. And maybe some of us have been guilty. I mean, I wouldn't say I've ever been guilty of that. Maybe somebody listening has, but you cannot put a woman in front of all your long-term relationships. Now, she can become the number one person in your life. That's normal, especially if you're married. But she doesn't get to dictate and tell you you can't communicate with XYZ, your old friend here or your family member here. And because a man who's willing to do that is a man that will backstab anybody based on the desires of the woman. And so the woman dictates the relationships in his life. And therefore, any man who is a simp, a beta, or a cuck, they cannot be trusted. And here's a few of the behaviors then I wrote down specifically in regards to simpy behavior. One, constantly engages in likes and posts on females' online content. Do not, as I said earlier, do not like women's photos. Do not compliment how pretty they are, or how sweet they are, or how independent and strong they are. Do not. That is weak behavior. That is simpy behavior. They can't compete with other men using traditional game, charisma, external attributes, being in shape, being decently looking. And so they compete to impress women with compliments, flattery, and money. That's what's going on OnlyFans. Have you seen these guys? And we have a video that's going to be looking at simpy behavior. It's going to be mocking it. It's a meme video. But, a girl's like dancing on her Twitch stream, $500, hundreds of dollars. Why are you sending hundreds of dollars to a girl because she danced on her Twitch stream? There was a thing that was going viral about some girl who was sleeping. She did a live stream of herself sleeping, and thousands of men sat there and watched it. What are you doing? These men can't compete in real life. And so they live inside of a fantasy, and they build fantasies with the OnlyFans girls they follow, with the e-thought that they follow. And therefore they think by complimenting them and showing them how much attention I give them, I'm going to shower them with money. Maybe they'll love me. Maybe they'll think of me as a provider. No, that is simpy beta cuck behavior. Another one is often a male feminist. I am a Christian. I am not a feminist. I do not promote feminism. I think my worldview accommodates and actually provides and protects for women better than feminism does, as we can see in 2024, where, the head coach of South Carolina's women's basketball team, who just won the national championship, who's a lesbian, by the way, could not, even though you could see she didn't want to, could not say she did not support trans women in female sports. Why? Well, that's the radical wave of feminism. But watch out for the simp who's a male feminist, because they will provide what's called white knight behavior. They will come to defend women at all costs. They'll always protect women against these toxically masculine men and the patriarchy and Christianity and traditional society and morals. That is simpy behavior. Do not be a male feminist. Another one is they're always subservient to women. And again, you see this in the male feminist circles. And let's face it, many of these male feminists are male feminists because that's the way that they get close to engage with other women, hoping that many of them may sleep with them. That's why many men are male feminists. Let's just face it. That's a fact. And so they are always subservient to women because sexual access is the number one thing to them, because all they seek is pleasure. They tend to be overly emotional. So another behavioral characteristic of simps is they're overly emotional. And you see this when you debate with them, when you talk with them, when you push against their worldview, they can't handle it. They spurg out. They become emotionally unstable, or they like to talk about their emotions. You can ask my fiance how many times I've sat and talked with her about how I felt about something. This is actually a joke between us, because whenever we sit and talk, when she wants to tell me something about herself, it's always like, I feel. And when I want to tell her something about myself, it's always I think, because I always like to express ideas. Even with somebody who's the closest in my life, my fiance, who I love, I do not sit and talk about my feelings to her. But beta simpy men will do it online. They will go online and talk about their emotions and their emotional state and why they're upset. Stop it. Get a little bit of a backbone, become a little bit more stoic, build up a little bit more T levels. You're weak and you're effeminate. Excessive sympathy towards women. It's kind of tied with the male feminist and the white knighting behavior, but I just looking, a simp is somebody who's excessively sympathetic to the plight of women to the detriment of the plight of men. Another one is women place them in the friend zone. So a simp cannot avoid being placed in the friend zone over and over again. Why? Because there's no challenge for the woman. She knows you're not going to leave. You're too friendly. You pay too much attention. You're too enamored. You're too involved. You're sending too many text messages. Stop. Focus on your life. Focus on your purpose. It's okay to let her know, hey, you want to go on a date this weekend? She doesn't message back. Do not message her back. Do not, hey, did you get my text? 3 hours later, hey, just wondering, are you okay? Stop it. Stop it. Only engage with a woman to the degree that she engages with you, and don't worry about it. Move on. Have bigger and better things to focus on. So women find safety, as I said, in this new beta male simpy behavior because it's not threatening to them. They know you can't do anything. They know they have all the leverage, but deep down, they don't want you because, as we'll see today, they'll go and cheat on you and leave you after 6 years or however for a man who's more masculine and who's actually on his purpose and is actually doing things. A man who will probably say no to her because deep down, that's what every woman wants. She wants a man that's going to say no. And so often another behavioral point is they're often subversive about power. So simpy beta males are often subversive. How are they subversive? Oh, they're subversive by the fact that, they'll use politics, kind of the destiny. They're kind of just slippery folk. They're subversive. They promote everything that's degenerate in society. And they're against everything that's traditionally true, good, and beautiful or masculine. So be careful because they're always subversive and they're always interested in acquiring power and leverage over you. And we saw this with the COOF, guys. Look at the mask mandates. Tell me the physiognomy of the person when you go into the grocery store and you refuse to put the mask on because you're not a coward and you know it doesn't do anything. What's the physiognomy of the person that comes up to you and says, hey, you need to put your mask on? And imagine it's a man. It's always going to be a simpy, cucked beta male every time. So, and they're also insecure and they need external validation. Simps need external validation. And traditionally masculine men, yes, we get external validation through our competency, but we don't do things for that. We do things for the duty. We do it for our purpose. We don't do things for external gratification and validation. That's why women seek attention, as I'll show you with some articles here in a few. So a simp, like a woman, is always seeking external validation. And my last behavioral characteristic is they rarely speak directly and straightforwardly. A common characteristic among masculine men is when you speak directly. You speak straightforwardly. You get to the point. You don't sort of meander around with your words. It's a sign of intelligence and assertiveness. But a simp can't do that because a simp isn't assertive. And so they can never speak straightforwardly and directly. Another instance of simpy behavior. So with that being said, guys, now I want to show you one of the best examples of simpy behavior. And this comes from, as I said, it was I saw it going around X. And so I bookmarked it. And it is from the Jesse Lee Peterson. I don't watch Jesse Lee Peterson, but I had to save this, and it was perfect for our stream today. So check this guy out. And I'm not a big fan of Michael Malice and his his anarchical worldview. But check this guy out. This is 11 and 30 minutes of simpy beta male psychology.
We went for lunch one day with her parents, and she said, "I don't want to do it. I'm gonna terminate it." And I didn't. What am I supposed to say?
You should have said, "Hell no, you ain't killing my baby." And are you a
Exactly, right? That's exactly what you're supposed to say.
feminist?
I used to be a feminist, but recently I have made a very large life change, and I do not identify as a feminist anymore. And that's because I have realized that feminism isn't about equality, because that's what I want, and that's what I was fighting for. And what I've seen now is feminism is about female superiority. They hate men, they hate me. They just use me as a tool, and I'm not going to have a part of it.
I don't blame you. And when I asked, who are you? You gave me your name, but not who are you, who you are. Who are you? Do you know?
I'm not sure what you mean by that question.
You said that you're going to be yourself. You're going to be who you are. And I asked, who are you? But you're right about the feminists. They do hate men. That's for sure. How did you come to recognize that they hate men?
Well, the breaking point was recently, a few months ago, my girlfriend of 6 years left me, and the man that she left me for was a toxic male. He was the type of male that I thought we were fighting against. But for some reason, she's gone with him and threw me to the side. And if they want to do that, that's fine, because I'm not going to participate in toxic masculinity and this type of game where you're just going to use me as bait or a designated driver to get you to your protests. And
My mate.
Oh my God. You almost feel bad for the guy. He doesn't get it. He doesn't get it. So he let the girl he was with for 6 years kill their baby that they were going to have together. He's upset because she left him for a more traditionally masculine, toxic masculinity. And he's wondering why maybe she left him. This is a perfect purview into the psychology of one of these deranged, simpy beta male minds.
Amazing. So you dated her for 3 years?
6 years.
6 years.
6 years.
Were you guys living together?
Yes, we were.
How old are you, Michael?
I'm 32 years old.
Oh, you seem younger. Why did you marry her?
That's a good question. I guess she just didn't want to.
So she didn't want to, so I didn't. Again, perfect indicator of simpy behavior, capitulating to the female. If you're a man, and I know most men here are traditional, and you want to get married and you want to have children, you want to have a family, because as a man, that's what your reputation is built upon, right? Your lineage is your identity. Having sons is essential for your family line to continue. This guy, yeah, I agree with the chat. A little sussy with the lisp there, right? He's a little sussy. He may end up he may just turn to men. I'm not sure. Let's hope he doesn't. But he just says, well, she didn't want to get married, so I guess we didn't. Well, that's part of the problem, bro. If you wanted to get married and she didn't, then you leave her. You leave her and you go find a woman who's actually going to respect you and who's going to accommodate to your wishes. It doesn't go one way. The simp only accommodates to the women. She never accommodates to him. She doesn't care.
I'm not the type to propose. I would need to be proposed to, so she never asked.
Why would you need? Men are not supposed to be proposed to, because men bring the woman into their world. He doesn't go into her world. Why would you need to be proposed to? You're not a woman.
Because proposals are toxic masculinity. That is a man putting a woman on a spot and saying, I need an answer right now. And I'm not that type of guy. I let women have the power, and I give them the power and responsibility, and I am just here to support them.
Beta.
Can we get betas in the chat, please? Betas in the chat for all the COTEL crew members. Beta in the chat for all the COTEL crew members, please. This guy is so freaking weak. Well, if he wanted to propose, you have to propose to me. What? Proposal of toxic masculinity. Toxic masculinity. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? This is, again, the red pill is accurate. Women have, they provide, they're the doorway. They give access to sex. Men provide access to relationships and marriage. That's why we propose. We choose the women. The man chooses the woman who wants to get married. Thea would need to propose to me. What? What? Oh my gosh. Yeah. Beta.
Well, that
Jesse,
that's why your girlfriend left you, because you're a beta male. She wanted you to be a man. She wanted you to lead the way, not follow her.
but I did everything for that. Anything she asked for, I would do.
But you should never do that.
Well, what am I supposed to do?
You're supposed to lead and do the right thing, and she will follow. You're not supposed to give a woman or do everything that a woman asks you to do, because that's a weakness, and women hate weakness, hate weak men.
Well, I got a news flash for you. It's 2019. Okay, it's not 1986 anymore.
And what?
1986? He thinks 1986 is that long ago. Well, I got news for you. It's not 1986 anymore. Oh my God. Oh.
What does that mean? It's 2019. What does that mean?
It means that we've evolved. We're no longer stuck in the dredges of a patriarchy. We've woke up and we see what's going on, and we're not going to participate in it anymore.
So it means that you don't have values anymore.
Yeah, I have a lot of values, actually. Yes, I do.
But that's what they had in 18, whatever you said. It was the values. It's moral values that led men and women. And so that should be the same today. Why has that changed?
Because it's not a woman's job. The values back then benefited men and men only, okay?
That's not true. That's not true. Women, when men were men and they had more values, women got their values from the men. Now that the men are weak, women have no values because they don't have any way of getting them.
Well, that's a good point, but we have Andrea Ocasio-Cortez now too.
Look how nutty she is, though. She has no values. She lives with her boyfriend. She's a socialist. She's out of her mind because she doesn't have a real man.
Well, we're going to have to disagree on that one, because I think women can be strong and independent and alone, and they don't need men. They just get a career, work, and be happy. That's it.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Are you guys? It almost has to be a skit, right? From my understanding, this is actually real. This was a real call in to the Jesse Lee Peterson show. I know Mr. Scream says this guy can't be real. I hope not. This guy is screwed. I think women can be strong and independent. That's why we got Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. What? Bro, you just began lamenting that your woman left you because she didn't find you masculine enough and left for a guy who's traditionally he's a toxic masculinity. Oh my gosh. Shout out to Are We Not Men, 2-month COTEL crew member. Thank you so much, brother, and really appreciate the Crucible raid. God bless you all. Logan Daly throws in $5, says, big it up, nubs. Absolutely. Let's get the nub wave going, guys. Let's get a little nub wave going. Thank you so much, Logan, for the $5 super chat. And we see our beloved sister, Rachel Wilson, gifted 5 COTEL crew memberships. Thank you so much, Rachel. That must have been during my monologue. Really appreciate that, Rachel. God bless. And Nathan McGowan throws in $10, says, simps and sex workers create an ungodly society that praises promiscuity and discourages godly chastity. Absolutely. That's absolutely what it does. And that's why simps need to be a point of contention and in the iron scope of traditionally masculine men, because we got to get these men to stop simping all the time. It is corrosive to our society. And shout out to Marcus Antonio, gifted 10 COTEL Crew memberships. Thank you so much, Marcus. Really appreciate your support, brother. And Blue Juju gifted 5 COTEL Crew memberships. Thank you very much, Blue Juju. Welcome, bro. Really appreciate the support. And Raphael throws in $5, says, sorry for the off-topic question, but when does Orthodoxy teach ensoulment occurs? I can't find anything on the subject. Keep up the good work, brother. Ensoulment occurs as soon as conception occurs, from my understanding. That's why in Orthodox we are very anti-abortion, because we believe the fetus already has a soul. So that's the soul gives form to the body, and so as the body's gaining form in the womb, it has a soul to do such. So thank you very much, Raphael. And Logan Daly gives 5 COTEL Crew memberships. Thank you so much, Logan Daly. Really appreciate you, brother, and all the support. So thank you. We got to get another emoji that's for simps. We got to get a simp emoji. I'll tell you, I'll get me and Andrew, he helps me. And so one of the guys that work for Andrew helps me out. I'm going to get him. Once we get enough members, I need more members. So if we got a nub wave possible, let's get a nub wave going, gifting some memberships. I will add a simp emoji for the COTEL Crew. And so, and then Willie Jenkins, shout out Willie Jenkins, 13-month member, says, why are most simps also libs? Well, I think because they're effeminate, because to have values and morals and pursue virtue, you're going to be right wing. That's the only, and I'm not saying Republican because we know that's a false dialectic, but if you want to have values and virtues, you're going to be right of center. That's the only place where they're found. As I said, all the other side does is they compete by compliancy. They comply with the LGBTQ. They comply with the trans agenda. They complied with the COOF. They comply with the mask. They comply with the jab. All they do is comply, and then they try to leverage that against you and I who refuse to comply because we're traditionally masculine. So thank you very much, Willie Jenkins. And shout out to Jessica Bowman, just became a 1-month COTEL Crew. And she says, don't be a simp, guys. Be a leader, be a protector, be a man. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jessica. And then over on the Dono chat, looks like we had a few come in on the Dono chat. $5 came in from Panopticon Mind, says, keep it up, brother. Your beliefs are part of a culture that will stand the test of time. Deus Vult. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Panopticon. And Marcus Antonio threw in a $5, says, it's okay to hire a white man if he's now a white woman. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Thanks, Marcus. And then Bonsai Jungle throws in a generous $50 super chat, says, been watching COTEL, Dyer, Jim Bob after finding Christ, post-occultism, and Luciferianism. Churches need more people and communities like this. I pray the lost sheep find their way back to Christ, not into materialistic delusion. God bless. Well, thank you very much, Bonsai Jungle. I really appreciate that. And then over on the Streamlabs, we had a few super chats that came in. Dr. Vagisil throws in $1 and says, simping comes from a lack of self-worth. And since we as men get our worth from how we can serve others, women take advantage by giving just enough positive feedback to keep men in a hamster wheel. Absolutely. And that's why you don't want to get in that hamster wheel in the first place. Dr. Vagisil throws in another $1 and he says, I know a lot of leftist guys that go out of their way to make fun of masculinity to virtue signal to women and wonder why they have to see a therapist for depression, all because they hate their dad and assume godly masculinity by association is also bad. True fact. Meta Ninjas throws in $5. He said, yo, what's up, Meta Ninja? Shout out to you, brother. I saw you in the chat. It's good to see you around, man. It was good to see you in the COTEL Crew think tank as well. And then Jan, she throws in $1 and she says, keep up the good work. Well, thank you very much, Jan. And Storm the Cat threw in $5 and says, another thing about simps and effeminate men is they tend to be kind of nervous and anxious all the time, whereas manly men are more calm and collected. That's a great point. I should have added that. That's a really good point, Storm the Cat. And so I think that covers all the Streamlabs. We got one more that just came in from Alan Wiggs, throws in $5, says, ironically, simps don't contribute to the modern day hedonistic hookup culture because they can't get laid. So you have to give them that. Well, I would say maybe some of them do to some degree. I get your point, and I agree that they're not, simps are not the ire of attraction by most women. That's for sure. But I'm sure they're trying. I guarantee you many simps are on all those hookup apps, and a few of them get lucky. But thank you very much, Alan Wiggs. Really appreciate the support, my man. Okay, let's get back to this video. We're halfway through this guy's deranged response to Jesse Lee Peterson. Let's see what he has to say next.
Have you ever seen a strong woman?
Yes, I have. I've seen plenty of them. I've been to multiple women marches.
But men only think that women are strong because men are weak. Women are not strong. It's just that men are weak. So it looks like women are strong. Are you you a social justice warrior, right?
I don't like to call myself that, but yeah, I suppose I am.
And could you put me on camera so you can see me? And so what does it mean to be a social justice warrior? What is that exactly?
It means that you stand up for social injustices that you see.
Like what, for example?
Like men trying to tell women that they can't abort their babies before birth. It's not your body.
So, like men telling women that killing their children is a bad thing. That's his example of social justice, is men telling women that killing babies is a bad thing. Yeah, Moloch sacrifice is a bad thing, bud. Sorry about you.
So is the baby body the woman's body?
As long as the umbilical cord is attached, yes.
So the baby body is not his own body, it's the woman's body that she's killing?
Well, a part of her body.
I'm sorry?
A part of her body.
How's a part of her body if the baby has its own body? It's not the woman's body that she's killing the baby's body.
Well, if you cut the umbilical cord, that baby would not survive because it needs the mother.
No, when it comes out alive. They cut the umbilical cord because it doesn't need the mother. So when they kill the baby, the woman, they are not killing their bodies. They're not hurting their bodies. They're killing another body, another human being. Have you ever thought about that?
Yes. But it's also a fact that babies can't feel pain before their first birthday. And we cannot expect women to carry a growing human in their body if they don't want to. If they have anxiety, if they have a depression, if they're having a hard time, they need that right. They need that out. They need that solution.
So
see, and this is the point where, like, our sister Rachel makes it like, what about just holding women responsible for promiscuous sex? Like, why is it that it's their body, their choice to kill a baby, which is the consequence of their actions, their promiscuity, their having unprotected sex? Because we know, based on like Florida data and what was it, 2023 or 2022, that it was like 98% of all abortions were elective, meaning there was no health risk to the woman. It wasn't rape. It wasn't incest. It wasn't from sexual abuse. It was that a woman got pregnant and she decided that she wanted to abort. That's elective abortion. And why are we not holding women responsible for the fact that they're condoning and contributing to promiscuous sex? I think, again, as a Christian, we just need to go back to no sex before marriage. I know that's not the most popular opinion, but I think that's the way in which society works the best.
Those issues give a woman a right to kill a human being in her body.
No, it gives her a right to terminate a pregnancy.
Does terminate mean that they kill? Is that person's life taken away from them when they terminate them?
Yes.
So they're killing there, right? And so you're saying that a woman has a right to kill a human being, and it's not her body, but she has a right to kill boys and girls in their bodies.
It's not like there's just random children floating around inside their bodies. They've made this baby. It's theirs. It's part of them. And if they want to end it, they should be able to.
Do they make the baby, or does the man make the baby?
The woman makes the baby.
No, women don't make babies. Women just carry them for the men. It's the men who make the baby. And
no, that is not true. That is not true.
Women don't. How do women make babies?
By growing an egg into a baby.
No, where they get it from that make the baby? Where do they get that seed from that makes the baby?
Well, it could come from a man. It could come from a fertilization from a doctor.
A doctor man?
There's lots of ways. You don't need men.
No, you do. Where they get the fertilization from? Where did that doctor get it from?
I'm not sure. I don't work in a medical facility.
The doctor got it from another man. Some man donated his sperm, and that's how the doctor got it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Would you want your ex-girlfriend, if you guys had gotten her, did you have sex with her without being married?
Yes.
If you had gotten her pregnant, would you have wanted her to kill your child?
Well, I did get her pregnant once, and she did abort the baby, but she was going through anxiety at the time, and I understood.
How many abortions?
What? This dude was okay for her to abort his baby because she had anxiety? Guys, this is the problem with simpy beta male behavior. This is unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. What? This guy has no honor, no self-respect. Again, look at, the 5 characteristics that I laid out in the beginning. Number 1, no boundaries. He doesn't have a boundary except for the general narrative that is social justice, all this different stuff, feminism. He's not a leader. He's a follower. As he already said, he wants to be proposed to. He always accommodates to the woman. As he said, he was okay with her aborting his baby because she had anxiety. He has low self-esteem and self-respect. That's quite apparent. And it's hoes before bros. We don't know anything about his family or his friends, but we can already suspect that she dominated and controlled his life.
What did she have?
2.
For you?
No, 1 with me.
And 1 with another man?
Yes.
Amazing. Why did you know that before you got with her that she had already had an abortion?
No, I found out while we were dating.
Oh, how did you feel when she killed your child?
I was a little sad, but it helped her, so I was not going to be selfish.
So you were not going to be selfish and look out for your own child.
I would look out for my own child.
But you let the woman kill your child.
Well, it's her body. I didn't allow her. It's her body.
No,
she didn't even need to ask me.
Did she ask you?
She didn't even need to ask him if she could abort his own child. What? This is so pathetic. So sad. Yeah, Frankie D, dude, man, that is sad. Absolutely. Wow.
No.
She did it without asking you?
Well, no, I knew it was going to happen, but she didn't ask me. She told me.
She told you, I'm going to kill your child. How many months was she pregnant?
I believe it was 4.
Wow. And so she just said, Michael, I'm going to kill your child tomorrow morning. And you said, okay, go ahead. See, have breakfast.
No, that's not how it went. She was having a hard time with her anxiety. She was being really stressed out. And we went for lunch one day with her parents, and she said, I don't want to do it. I'm gonna terminate it. And what am I supposed to say?
You should have said, hell no, you ain't killing my baby.
Well, we were in a restaurant and her parents were there, and I'm not going to cause a scene.
Why not? Why not?
Because it would be rude.
How poor parents did she have that she was literally discussing aborting her child in front of her, again, weak boyfriend and her parents at a restaurant? Beta.
It's very patriarchal.
Which is most rude is to say, I'm going to kill your child after lunch today, or hell no, you're not going to kill my child.
She didn't say that. She didn't say, I'm going to kill your child. She said, I'm going to abort your child. There's a big difference.
It's the same as killing.
Good Lord. Good Lord. So we got some videos I'm going to show you guys in just a second. Before we get into it, I wanted to show you articles. Again, trying to say that simp, the slang that teenagers use to insult boys. This is a CNN article, literally just saying that it's from boys are being bullied for being nice to girls. No, not the case. I have one. Where's the Men's Health? Yeah, this one's the same thing. Men who, oh no, it's this one right here. Here's what it means when someone calls you a simp. Of course, we can see this, which every commercial has this. You hardly ever see a heterosexual white couple anymore in any sort of advertisement. But this whole thing goes on to talk about how simp is just a man who is nice to women, and that this is used by men to degrade other men. Where's this one? So while most people use simp to describe men who date women or anyone who can anyone can engage in simp. No, nobody uses the term simp for men who date women. We do not call men simps for heterosexual behavior. So then I read this article. I was like, wow, this thing is so off. So then I went up here and I looked at the authors. So Zachary Zane, what kind of articles does he post? Sexplain it. I love getting pegged by my new girl, but my new girlfriend refuses. What? What? I look awful in every nude selfie. People with breeding kinks share why they find it so freaking hot. So you get it. You already get what type of articles that guy makes. So then I went to Roe White. Okay, let's see what this guy writes about. So he looked effeminate. And then I started looking at his articles. It's all about sex. Here's exactly how to make your partner squirt. How to take a break from your relationship according to experts. These are the type of articles that are for men's health. Men are supposed to listen to this. Yeah, right. Yeah, absolutely right. So then I was looking at articles on women in psychology about why they need validation through excessive attention. And so here's one by a woman who writes about having sex and wanting intimacy. She's a PhD, and she highlights the reasons why women are obsessed with social media. Social media is an emotional support network. Posting and sharing will bring validation. Social media is the place to show the world how great you are. So, okay, we've got narcissism, and it's striking the perfect pose will bring true love. No, absolutely not. And then we have articles, women who post lots of photos of themselves on Facebook value appearance, need attention, study finds. It highlights increased narcissistic behavior by women who have to have attention, constant attention through social media. Here's why females are attention seekers. And this one's quite good. I'm not going to read it. We got videos that we can watch. But again, highlights that women seek attention as validation. And so with social media, they're being accustomed to getting more and more and more attention. And even in relationships, they'll still want to garner attention from other men, even while in a relationship. Here's the double standards shown towards women and men who make money from OnlyFans. So this is about not enough straight men support gay porn and sex workers on OnlyFans. And that this is a double standard because it's mostly men who are paying for women on OnlyFans. Here's another one. Men who pay for OnlyFans share their reasons for doing it. This was really enlightening. Many said their basis for subscribing for creators was to avoid the exploitive side of the porn industry. So they support women on OnlyFans because I want my money to go to hot women, not sleazy porn producers. Free range farm to table organic fair trade porn, said another. I don't think a lot of people realize how unethical and exploitive free porn can be, another added. And it goes on. Here's another one. It's not like a porn video will text you a random nude during the day, one person said. Personalization in porn might be worth it for a lot of people, especially for those with obscure names. There are 0 videos on Pornhub of a woman screaming the name Obadiah. Oh, well, dude, quit watching porn, dude. Like, get yourself under control. Holy crap. Okay, so here we go. This is a simp meme compilation that I want to show you guys. It's pretty funny. Yeah, exactly. This is why our country is falling. Absolutely. It's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic. We had a few super chats. So before we watch this is a funny meme video. Before we watch it, let me just bring up a couple super chats real quick. Frankie D threw in $5. He says, this may be a subtopic or a subtopic, but off topic. I was talking with my deacon the other day, and he opened my eyes to the anti-Christ message of the red pill. The question they always ask the girl is, what do you bring to the table? And your wife needs to be an asset, not a liability. I'm so glad he figuratively smacked me on the head and said that's a doctrine of Satan. Marriage is a martyrdom. You're supposed to die in your marriage. You sacrifice your life for your wife daily by bearing that cross. True. And then Dr. Vagisil throws in $1 and says, the glasses guy is Brian Johnson. If he had Beyond Meat instead of money, tell the next leftist you interact, you will pray for them tonight without their consent and enjoy their reactions. Yeah, hilarious. That's a good one. Thank you very much, Dr. Vagisil, and for the $10, Frankie D. Really, really appreciate that, my friend. And then over on the Dono chat, $5 came in from Blue Skittle, and he says, beta. Yeah, absolutely. That last guy was a total beta. All right, now let's check this video out. This is a video I found of simp meme compilation. I watched half of it. I thought, okay, that's pretty funny. We need to show this.
I would like to award you the highest honor I can bestow.
If she come over, she fucking Billy the Goat. And a discussion, run up the guap. I'm chasing these hundreds. My music different. Everyone loves it. And who's that? Oh, it's Mr. MVP, Simp!
I bet your boyfriend won't like you going on a camping trip with 2 dudes.
Ugh, what boyfriend? I'm not seeing anyone right now. Guys are jerks.
Yeah, I know, right? Guys are the worst.
Hit him in the head, need some leg, hit him in the chest. Got a lot of guap, I sit on top. Pull up in the raindrop. Fucking on your main dot. Parking lot, well. Would you go to the dance with me?
Well, there's no real easy way to say this, but look, you're a simp. I'm gonna have to report you back to Cusco.
God damn it, Morty. Why did you have to waste $1,000 on a Twitch thought?
Oh, jeez, Rick, I'm sorry. It's because I'm a simp, Rick. I'm an actual simp.
Shit, I don't even know. Like, I can't even tell you that. Like, you know, like, fucking, I don't know, like, never know, you know, like.
To the I, to the M, to the B.
I ain't felt like this in a long time.
I'm bad, and that's good. I will never be good, and that's not bad. There's no one I'd rather be than me.
You lazy, no good slackers drive me nuts. Can't you just listen to me once in your worthless life? Because if you did, you'd see I'm trying to teach you some simple responsibility. I'm having a very bad day. I am in no mood. This, today, is one of the worst days that I've had in a long time. I'm gonna chase the check. Take my
All right. So we watched a little bit of those memes. Now check this out. I found this from the Whatever podcast. And this guy's literally talking about the failing. It's almost like a 2.0 of the Michael we just watched with Jesse Lee Peterson.
Okay. So last time I was on here, I was with Keely Rose, who is an OnlyFans girl. And yeah, she basically, after 6 years of living together and being together every day, she left me for another guy. And she's currently in Melbourne, Australia with this other guy. And it kind of came abruptly out of nowhere for me a few months ago. And I was very heartbroken about it, but now I'm here ready to discuss it and show that I am okay and I will survive.
You guys were married, right?
Were you guys married?
We were engaged.
Engaged,
And for a few years we were engaged, and I definitely was committed to her and definitely loved her and wanted to be in a monogamous relationship with her and was monogamous during that period. Even though she was doing things with other guys for money, I always figured that at least, even if it was for money, at least she still loved me, and it was just sex. It wasn't love, and it wasn't making love, and she would come back to me, and that would be love. You know, now I'm definitely, you know, shocked by it. You don't expect your spouse to leave you for another man. But, you know, stranger things have happened in this world, and so I'm not alone.
So you guys think this guy has pretty good charismatic energy, dominant, assertive leader, a lot of self-confidence? I don't think so. Looks like we can already put, again, all the characteristics and behavior patterns together. Engaged for multiple years. Like, you get engaged, you get married, dude. What's the holdup?
Alone. I'm sure there's many guys in my boat, but I'm all right because I still have my dog, and we go hiking and do things together. So at least I'm not alone. And I do. I am. You know, I purchased my first property for investment, so I do have cash flow that's going to be coming in soon. So I don't need her money anyway. And I'm purchasing a house in North Carolina. It'll feel pretty empty, you know, up in the mountains there without her, you know, because I was going to buy it with the intention of her being with me, but now it's just going to be my little buddy and I, and I'm going to build a recording studio in it and go hiking and hopefully meet someone new. So that's, you know, that's kind of what my deal
Nick,
is.
are you able to? Can you pull up? No. Can you pull up Dating Talk 65? That's the episode that Mick was on with Keely. We don't really need to watch anything, but we'll just show, because Mick was previously on with his then fiance, girlfriend. Just for context for people, they appeared together. Keely, at the time, and I believe still currently, she was a stripper, correct?
Well, she started as a stripper for a few years, and then when lockdowns happened, she wasn't able to make any money, so she went to being a porn star, and then from being a porn star to doing OnlyFans. And when she was on here, she hadn't done porn in like a year anyway, so it was like just OnlyFans that we were basically living off of, and then
So the same exact pattern, right? He's with a woman who dominates the relationship. He's a weak-willed man. He doesn't feel any of the traditional masculine characteristics. She is a stripper, and then she gets into porn, and then she does OnlyFans, and he never says no. He never puts an end to it. He never gives her an ultimatum. He never says, hey, if you're going to do this kind of activity, you're not going to do it while you're with me. He allows it, and of course, she leaves him for another man. Again, the same pattern over and over.
My income too.
But was she was doing scenes on OnlyFans with other men? Is that correct, if I recall?
No, not necessarily, unless it was like a sugar daddy that was giving her, you know, money, and then they would film content or something around it if there was, and then she. But no, it was mostly just pictures of her and stuff, you know.
Just one sec. So while you were with her, she was sleeping with other men. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And do you feel like...
I wonder what's the worst that could happen. Again, how could this guy be heartbroken and so surprised that this occurred when he was allowing her to sleep with other men while they're in a relationship? Simp. Beta. Cuck.
like, if I recall the conversations that we were having about that, you said you were okay with it, but it seemed to me, it occurred to me that you felt to some degree pressured by her to accept the situation.
I think at first I was like really disturbed by it and didn't want it. Then I started to get more used to it and become numb to the fact that that was what was going on. But then as time went on, it was like we're gonna have a home together. I want to have kids. I want to have
Wait, is this what you're saying, or is this what
this
she's
is what
saying?
I was saying to her?
Okay,
like
I see.
I want a committed relationship. I want to love you and cherish you as my wife. I don't want you sleeping around anymore. Like that started to sink in more as I was getting older. Like when we met, I was like 20, 21, but now I'm 27, almost 28, and a lot can happen in those few years. So it's like I've matured now to where, like, before I was young and naive, and now I'm like a man who wants to have a full-time job, a committed wife and kids, and raise them and have a home and pay a mortgage and do all those adult stuff that I didn't want to do previously, when we first met. So it's a very different mindset. So I think we kind of went further and further apart because I wanted to be essentially a normal middle-aged adult in America.
Grid 1 Motorsports is not a 3 testosterone.
I hit the gym every day, actually, right down the road here. But yeah, I agree with you. I did dodge a bullet. It could have ended worse. But the thing is that she wants to continue to sleep around, meet other guys. She wants to party and drink and smoke, and I don't drink at all. I don't party at all. I don't smoke at all. I don't do any of that stuff. I love socializing. I love meeting new people, but I'm not into partying and all that stuff. And that's what she really wants to do. And I think she's almost become like an alcoholic because she can't handle. I've done a lot of research into psychology, and I believe she's a malignant narcissist. And her coping mechanism for her anxiety and for her narcissism is to sleep with men, smoke weed, and drink alcohol to cope with that, because it's like almost like a mental disorder that she has to cope with to deal with all the stress and anxiety that comes with being a narcissist. And if you don't know what a malignant narcissist is, just Google it. But
the dude needs to find Jesus. We need to, again, pray for brothers like this. He's a simp. He's a beta male. I mean, no self-respecting man's going to let his 6-year-long relationship fiance sleep with other men, do pornography, be a stripper, go on OnlyFans. And if he's living that much of a lifestyle that is not participating in partying and inebriation, like, bro, find Christ. You need Christ, man. Like, it's going to put everything in perspective. It's going to help you deal with this stuff. Whatever secular, weird, distorted worldview this guy have, it failed him, and it failed him bad.
So how recently did you guys officially split or break up?
So she flew out about a week ago to Melbourne, Australia. So that was like officially the, like, it's over kind of deal for me. But we were keeping in touch for the past few months, and she was lying to me about it. She was kind of manipulating me.
Oh, you don't say. She was willing to lie to you. I wonder why.
And like telling me that she still loved me and she still wanted to be with me, because I think she couldn't deal with the with me leaving her and being apart from her. So that was a very big stress for her. But I think but basically, like, I went out and saw, we were spending time together and everything, and she would like completely ignore me and start talking to this other guy, and I'm like thinking something's up. And then she started acting like I'm just not even there, like spending 99% of the time with this other person. Like, she's like, no, I'm here. But when someone's there in the room with you but not present and not looking you in the eyes and talking to you, that's essentially what was happening for like a month. And
yeah, she was giving cues to the other men that she walks all over you, she has no respect for you, and that she's available. That's what happened. And unfortunately, his behavior allowed that to happen. That's why you have to be able to say no. You have to be able to end a relationship. If a woman begins to disrespect you, violate your boundaries, wanting to participate in activities that you don't condone, you say, no, I'm done. I'm out. If you want to be with me, you stop. If you don't, I'll go find another and I'll live my life. I got bigger and better things. But what we just highlighted, the simp has no purpose. He talked about they were living off the money she was making by doing her OnlyFans and sleeping with her sugar daddies. Bro, don't you see that that's part of the problem? You got to have a career.
And she was falling asleep in another bed away from me, and video chatting with this other guy. And I'm thinking, this is just wrong. Do you love me anymore? Like, she's like, you don't have to get upset about it. And she's kind of gaslighting me too, being like, well, you can sort of be with, you can still be with me and I can be with him and we can be in an open relationship. And I'm like, I don't want an open relationship. I want you. And you're trying to be with this other guy, and I don't understand why you think this is okay.
So, and how long has this been going on?
For the past few months.
But you said just a week ago.
She finally left.
When's the last time you saw her?
About a month ago now.
Oh, a month ago. So you guys had kind of been split, but she flew to Australia. And
I had a lot of her things. I had to give her some of her stuff and everything. She basically was living in, away from me. So it was like, I, was giving her back some of her things, and she, and I were still like, I was taking her out to eat and talking and asking how she was doing and stuff, but she just started treating me so shitty for no reason. Like I'm just like, it's like, I'm not even being mean. It wasn't like I was abusive or a drug addict or something. I was just literally like, can we talk and have just normal discussion?
Can we just talk about the fact that you're sleeping with other men? I don't like it. Will you just be, no, bro, you should have left like 2 or 3 years ago. Come on, man. Have some self-respect, have some dignity.
But she couldn't even talk. Her attention span right now is like a goldfish. Last time you guys saw her, she's a completely different person.
Let's actually just really quick pull up the episodes for context. Here, get rid of the super chat though. Like move it to different timestamp, so we can see not me. Like, so Mick, yep. Okay, so there's you, Mick. When was that? That was like.
Don't tell me it's the girl with the orange hair. Do not tell me this is all about or the Asian woman. Which one is it? Either one of them. Bro. Come on, man. Come on, man. Oh my gosh. Come on, man. All that for her? Oh my gosh.
Like 6 months ago or something. There's Keely with the red hair. Okay, and you guys came on the podcast, and you kind of talked about your guys' relationship and kind of what you've already said. She does OF. She's got sugar daddies. She used to be a dancer, but she still kind of danced a little bit, was my understanding.
Not as much at the strip clubs, but she did it if we needed money or something, yeah.
Okay, and so she's now moved to Australia to date some dude in Australia?
Yeah, this guy looks like a crackhead too. So.
How did she meet him?
Online, through like live streaming and stuff. It was just meet me.
Oh, wow.
So I'm sure he probably had money and he was sending her money, and she's like, oh, well, I could leave him. I can still make my money on OnlyFans. I can still do pornography. And he probably has more money than the guy I'm with. Sure, I'll leave. Again, opportunistic. Dude, you set yourself up for this. You did it. It's your behavior. Say no. I mean, come on, dude. For her? For her? Oh, my God.
So it wasn't, it was just, but she did live streaming when I met her. That was how we met, was on live stream. But she just was doing live streaming again for like fun. And then she totally, I think in her mind, she was using me to get out of Vegas because she didn't want to be there. And almost like I'm this person and I'm comfortable because we've been together for so many years now, and it was like this comfort, but she didn't really care or love me, and I cared and loved her. And so what I think happened is basically,
hold on just a second.
Housekeeping donated 100.
I definitely had some hesitation
we tried.
Yes. So but you know, yeah, I definitely I got lucky because I never actually got, you know, married or and I got to keep all my assets and everything, and you know, didn't like have to pay child support or any of that stuff, you know.
Yeah.
So I am lucky in that situation.
Have you had a rebound yet? Are you ready? Do you think you're ready for a rebound?
I went on one date a bit ago, like a few weeks ago, with a girl, but she kind of ghosted me since our date, so I don't know. But
I wonder why, bro. Any woman who meets you is going to take advantage of you if she stays with you, and most likely isn't going to be attracted to you. You have no masculine energy, man. You just let the woman that you claim you did love do anything and everything she wanted with other people.
But that's it. So no. But I would be happy to, if any girls out there want to message me, I would be happy to respond.
Would you date another OnlyFans girl? You're like, no.
I would consider it if she's really great, but
I'd be traumatized.
But I think it would probably be best if like I just hooked up with an OnlyFans girl and not tried to get in a committed, you know, loving relationship with an OnlyFans girl. However, if she's really nice and she's still committed to me, I would be okay if she had an OnlyFans. However, I probably should be looking for something else, you know.
So he has not learned his lesson at all. At all. He would be willing to get in a relationship with another woman on OnlyFans. This is the weak men that are literally degrading our society. This is the problem. Guys, you got to have a backbone. You got to have a plan. You cannot be okay with that. Unreal. Unreal. Just laid out that whole story for what, 13 minutes about his ex-girlfriend or fiance, and then literally turns around and says that he'd be willing to be in a relationship with an OnlyFans girl. Bruh.
You know,
with your past experience, would you recommend to other men that they don't date girls that do OnlyFans?
I would suggest you date someone who makes you happy and who's.
Oh my gosh, that's always the male feminist response, right? What did we talk about at the beginning about a traditionally masculine man? It's about values, virtues, purpose, goals. That's what you focus on. That's what your life's oriented around as a man. And a woman compliments you with those things. And you guys have a loving, traditional relationship. He's got nothing going on. And he's like, well, as long as they make you happy. No, I mean, yeah, you want to be happy. You don't want somebody who makes you unhappy, obviously. But the point is not happiness all the time. We just talked about, again, some of the psychology of women, and the simp is all about making the woman happy. He'll do everything to accommodate, do everything to capitulate. No, bro, it's not about happiness. It's about a bigger picture here, bigger values, bigger goals.
Going to love you for who you are, and probably don't date a narcissist unless you are a narcissist yourself.
Do you think that? Oh, sorry.
Because of the self-centered nature of a narcissist is just they're not going to truly love you, and only narcissists can love other narcissists. I feel like.
What was there narcissistic red flags?
There's a lot. Every single behavioral trait. If you just read down what a malignant narcissist is, Keely fits the description for every single one.
Now he sounds like a woman. Like every woman says, "Oh, my ex-boyfriend was a narcissist. He was a narcissist." You sound the exact same, bro. Okay, here we go. Now we're going to go to TikTok. So, guys, if you got TikTok requests or you got a great video on X or something regarding simps, let me know. Send it in. I'll show it. But here is just a few video searches I put on TikTok. I put simp, weak beta men, male feminist, simp memes. You can also do, let's see, simp apparently this was a big one that was going around. Hashtag Simp Nation was like a big one on TikTok. Yeah, so we'll check out some of that stuff as well. But if you guys got one in particular you want me to show, let me know. So here's one right here. Let's go through some of these. Okay, so this woman says, when will guys understand that being a simp is the most attractive thing you can do?
Do whatever you want. You just tell me what you want and I'll do that for you.
You're dumb.
That could be that.
No, 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 no.
How was your day?
No. Let's see what this guy's got to say. 3 signs you're a simp.
3 signs your ass a simp. The first thing, you treat the girl like she the best thing that ever happened in your life. Nigga, your life barely started. You put her on a pedestal like a fucking goddess. The second thing, you let her get everything her way. If she disagree with something, you go with it. If she says she want to do some shit, you go with it. If whatever happened, y'all always do what she want to do. Stop being a bitch. Third thing, you too clingy. You want all her attention, nigga. You ain't got time for all that shit. As a man, you can't be super clingy, bro. You ever heard of a girl being a simp? Exactly. My next video, I'm gonna show y'all how to fix that shit. Hit that plus.
Now, there's one girl that's talking about how much she loves simps. That's this one right here.
Honestly, the day these men accept to be simps, that's the day this economy will thrive. You want to get a cookie? You want to get that pum pum? You want to get that good? Be a simp. The moment you realize women love simpy men, that's the moment you'll start getting some pum pum. But you're too worried about what your homeboy has to say. And guess what? Your homeboy's not getting anything. Or guess what? Your homeboy's lying about not being a simp. Yeah, boy. Yeah, so be a simp today. Honestly,
No, do not listen to these women. She had another one here too.
I love my simps. I love them. I want a simp in my life.
Would you like date a simp?
Fuck yeah.
She's fucking lying.
Now you
Fine, I said
You want like a guy who's on his knees like 24/7
dude.
for you.
As soon as I come home, kiss my feet, baby, and then we go.
Oh, hell no. That's not even a boyfriend, a slave. Feed me my grapes.
And he loves me, and he's all about me.
She wants a minion.
I love my simp.
Now, you know, again, she's probably a sex worker. I don't know anything about that girl. I just saw her TikToks. Guarantee you she's doing OnlyFans, and she wants men to worship her. And she probably is incredibly unhappy, has never had a coherent relationship, a long-lasting relationship, because she probably is narcissistic. Yeah, who's paying her? Yeah, exactly. Who is paying her? I want to know. All right, let's see what we got. Let's see here. A lot of it's in Spanish.
Time, your energy, attention, and resources. And so as a woman, if you want to be respected by a man, you 1000% have to be respectable. Unfortunately, most women don't understand. Damn!
you know,
I can agree with that. I can absolutely agree with that. Let's see some of these other things going on here. Weak beta males.
The number one sign of weakness in a man is not his lack of physical strength, lack of mental strength, job insecurities, being a lowlife. I don't care about none of that shit. His biggest sign of weakness is physical abuse on women. Now, I was lucky enough to have a role model and a dad who degraded people with such behavior. And for those that weren't lucky enough to have a great role model, fellas, I'm here to tell you it's never okay in any God-given scenario on it.
All right, that dude. We do not approve of abusing women, of course, but come on, man. Come on, man.
Now, it's important for men to possess and exhibit traits that indicate self-confidence and strength. But oftentimes we fail and take up traits that makes us appear weak to women. And that's what we're going to talk about on today's video. And make sure you leave this video with some value. I'll give you a tip here and there on how you can change these traits in order to get better results. First up on the list, women despise men who lack ambition because it signals a lack of drive and direction in life. A man without ambition fails to set goals and strive for success.
It's really essential to being a man. Like, you got to have a purpose. You got to have goals. I always say as a metaphor, you got to be a shipbuilder, and you are setting out for destination B, and the woman comes and joins your ship. She joins your crew. She is on the voyage that you have already been set out on. You got to have a purpose.
And this can be a major turnoff for women seeking a partner who's motivated and goal-oriented. If this is you and you want to improve, you need to identify your passions and aspirations. Write them down and start taking steps to achieving them. Putting in mad hustle and showing that you're down and level up in both personal and professional arenas. Confusion and distance. So to step up your game, you got to practice active listening and get better at laying out your thoughts and emotions. When you communicate openly and honestly, that's when trust gets built and your bond with your woman gets stronger. This is how you take your relationship to the next level. How to prioritize commitment and demonstrate dedication to the relationship.
Okay, I'm done with this guy's stuff. The biggest projection that men have projected onto us women.
The biggest projection that men have projected onto us women in our entire existence in history is the term that men are run by logic and women are run by emotion, and they measure themselves to us that they are better than us due to that fact that they are run by logic and we are run by emotion. Yet, when
all right, let's analyze how logical her TikTok is. Let's analyze how much logic we got.
When a family breaks apart, marriage doesn't work out, who is the one who majority of the time stays behind to raise the children? It's the mother that devotes her life to the children because she's thinking logic. She's thinking about her children. She's thinking about their future. Who's the one chasing after their desires, living up their life? It's the man. When two people are married.
Okay, that does make sense. So she's logical because she has an emotional attachment and has a better disposition to nurturing and caring for children. And the man has again, as we talked about from a Christian perspective, a leader, protector, and provider. He has those duties that he needs to fulfill, and he's out in the world trying to make that happen. How is that emotional? That doesn't make any sense. So she's 0 for 1 so far.
Married, and if the man doesn't treat his woman right, she no longer wants to be intimate with him. She doesn't want to sleep with him. Why? It's because if you don't treat a woman properly and if you don't mentally stimulate her and emotionally stimulate her, she's not going to be able to just have sex.
Did she say logically stimulate her? So didn't she just contradict her own thing by saying that we have to emotionally stimulate them, but they're not more emotional? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Did she just not contradict herself?
Sex with you just like that to give up her body because she is logic. Where a man, he runs by desire, he runs by emotion. He has the emotion of being horny and he just wants to do the act of having sex because men are run by emotion. He's the woman that majority of the time who sits and stresses about the future of her family, who wants to plan ahead for the future of the family, where men, as we all know, do not know how to multitask like women. We can be emotional and logic at the same time, hence why we make great decisions. So,
well, given the fact that she used too much filler in her lips, I'm questioning her decision-making right now. That looks like a little bit too much filler, and I'm just saying. So women, because they think about the future, well, that's what a man should be doing. If a man's not thinking about the future, then he's not acting in his masculine role. That's literally what our role is. Women are responding to much more immediate instances in the environment, be it children, be it people. Men are focused on the long term. That's what a man should be doing. If he's not doing that, then he's just not a masculine man.
just have to put that out there. So this term that women can't be great leaders because they are run by emotion and they're not logic. No,
it's logical. Your English isn't on par.
Is purely a man projecting himself onto us women. So the biggest projection that men have projected.
Okay, so we just found out she made no logical sense and contradicted herself in that. Excellent.
And too many of our men are henpecked, weak, beta, whatever phrase you would throw out there. Now, I'm going to ask you, to the ladies over here, do you like men who are silent, liars, weak, beta? Are those the men you're going to give or allow to lead you? No. And so as men, as a man and leader and a guy that is vocal, I tell men all the time, do not fall for this. You will get no women. They're going to look at you and divorce you. Oh, hell no. Nope. I like a man that is strong. I like a man that will lead. Well, why would you tell him to stop saying things? To an extent, I get it. Some things are really, really offensive. And if you're offended by what men are saying today, grow up in the 50s. Men were barbarians compared to what they are today. They used to say some stuff that will make your hair curl up right now. And
okay, let's look for male feminist.
Tell me you're a male feminist without telling me you're a male feminist. I'll start. So I have this friend, McKenna, great girl. She was dating this guy named Tanner, not a great guy. He would disrespect her. He would not treat her like the queen she was. He would cheat on her, probably. Didn't have any direct evidence of that part, but I'm sure he did. And I would remind her of this daily. And finally, she broke up with him. So I'm hanging out with her after, and she goes, Cole, I wish I could find a guy just like you. So naturally, I made a move on her, and she rejected me. I'm like, excuse me? You wish you could find a guy just like me? Bitch, I am me. Hook up with me. I've been putting in the time. I deserve this. You owe me. I'm just going to keep going for the bad boys. Then you're going to keep getting your heart broken, and you'll deserve it. You need to go for the good guys like me. Nice guys like me. Just give me a chance and let me show you how nice I am. I will be so much fucking nicer to you than the other guys. Just let me show you how fucking nice I can be. You stupid bitch. God.
Oh my gosh. I think that was a joke, but good Lord. All right. Okay.
Male feminists are the fucking worst. Most manipulative men that I have met are like very in touch with their feminine side and know exactly how to manipulate feelings, are self-proclaimed feminists and claim to be an ally to like earn your trust. Or worse, they actually buy into their own bullshit because their ego can't handle the fact that they're actually horrible. We all remember the Modern Warrior scandal. He was like a perfect example of everything that women say that they want. Really sensitive, caring, feminist. But in practice, that energy actually translates to someone who is highly manipulative and toxic. You guys can come for me in the comments, but it is
True. As we said, simpy, soy boy, beta males are very subversive, very manipulative, because it's all about acquiring power that they can't have in the real world. So I totally agree with that. What's this girl got to say?
Yeah, no, men suck. Kill all men. We're horrible. Stay away from us. You deserve better, ladies. Yeah, no, men suck.
Okay.
Kill all men.
That was a retarded TikTok. How does that have 400,000 views? That was a retarded TikTok. I want to see somebody actually explaining why they're feminist. Why are they a male feminist? Can somebody? I thought I found one. Oh, here it is.
Hey Blake, thanks for replying. So let's just put aside for a second that I don't even think that weak, effeminate beta men is any part of a problem in this country. You're really trying to say that it's the only problem that we have? You don't think we?
I don't think he even says it's the only problem. He says, but the problem with society is weak, effeminate beta men. Exactly. As we've highlighted in this stream, they allow all this degeneracy to run wild. They have no boundaries. They have no leadership. They have no ability to say no. They're not disagreeable. Yeah, it's a major problem in our country right now. It's a major problem in Western society, generally speaking.
I don't think we have any problems with misinformation, a dysfunctional government, endless wars, taxation without any representation, destruction and looting of our social programs, watching billions of dollars of stimulus money go to corporations that already have plenty. We've got old men that are supposed to be from a time when you're saying this country was made of strong, good men, and these old fuckers are running us into the ground.
Well, I don't disagree with that, but I don't think anybody's here to defend the boomers and the people that are in our country right now.
Majority of the people in the country have an awful, awful standard of living, and this is your weak-willed beta men. This is women of all creeds. This is, people in mining towns. These are strong people who are have nowhere else to turn. So I think you'll agree that men painting their nails is not the problem with society. Now,
No, but it's a problem with society, or at least indicative of a deeper problem in society.
two very important things that need to be addressed. Is there a problem with being effeminate? Is there a problem with being female? And then the real kicker, if we're all so weak and effeminate and beta, then why aren't we just following big old alphas like you? If we're all so weak-willed and can't think for ourselves, then why aren't we trying to find somebody to think for us? That is the definition of a beta.
But they do. It's called the government. It's called the official narrative. It's called a mass media, mainstream media, the propaganda arm of the government. That it literally is the brain of the NPC. The NPC cannot critically think. They cannot critically reason. They cannot come up with their own unique opinions, and therefore it is all given to them.
Isn't it? Hey, Blake, thanks for replying.
So another massive fail by the male feminist. Let's see here.
Let me tell y'all one thing I can't stand the most is you beta males. I mean, y'all is so beta, man. I mean, y'all gonna be the reason why this world will get destroyed. Give me 5 minutes around a beta male around a female, and I'm gonna know if you a beta male or not. It's gonna be pretty much easy to figure out. I mean, because y'all is so much simps. I mean, y'all don't even hide it. I mean, I'm so sick of you beta males. Y'all gonna destroy this. I can't stop. I'm almost starting to hate y'all. That is how close I'm almost starting to hate y'all. I cannot stand y'all. Y'all the reason why this world's so messed up. Y'all don't know how to be alpha males. That's the reason why us alpha males don't always win. Because y'all always chasing these females, bagging them, and they be hoes. I'm not mad about them when female being a hoe. Let her be a hoe. I mean, it ain't no stopping. She gonna do what she wanna do, but you beta males is gonna destroy this country. I cannot stand you beta males. That's why us alpha males gonna always win. Peace.
I'm not big on men calling themselves alpha males, but I do agree that my patience with the beta simps is wearing thin.
Before this day, I got wind that the ladies are coming after me. Sabrina, Carmen, and Christina had a plan to vote me out. Like they want to break up Ace and I connection, and they're really gunning for me. My thought was very...
Okay, what is this? This weak beta male just further proved how much he masked his insecurities with his fragile ego. I don't trust this black woman. I bet he's probably fairly traditional. What's this girl got to say?
Oh my gosh, I actually really wish that more men were upfront about finding muscle on a woman unattractive, because it points out their insecurities, and then we would know immediately.
Everything's about our insecurities. So if you prefer a traditionally feminine frame, you're insecure because a woman has muscles.
Immediately to rule them out, and it saves us a lot of time. So thank you for comments like this, because it shows that you're weak, and what strong woman wants to be with a weak man? So if there are any other men out there that are scared of a strong woman, if you could just go ahead and let us know up front, that would really save us a lot of time. Thank you. Oh my god.
Oh my gosh, guys, you got any search requests I can put in TikTok? Again, when I just put in simps, a lot of it were mocking simps, but I wanted to find examples of people promoting simps. Oh, what's this girl got to say?
Why are you grumpy? Because you're on your phone not giving me cuddles, and not giving me cuddles because you're not giving me cuddles. I mean, I look so cuddleable right now, and you're not giving me cuddles.
So you're grumpy because you're not
ignoring
getting
me.
enough cuddles?
Yes, precisely.
Why are you grumpy?
Good Lord. I want to see this
Why are you
chick.
grumpy?
Thank you for letting me see your face, corpse.
Oh,
wait,
is that his face?
Is
You that saw his-
Gosh. Oh gosh.
Who cares how you haters feel?
That has 1 million views, guys. 1 million views on TikTok. 1 million views. What is the world coming to?
When you see a
TikTok is so cringe, man. TikTok is so cringe. Let's see what this guy has to say.
I'm convinced that I'm dating.
The word simp is the patriarchy's newest way of emasculating decent men. Let the wordsmith break it down for you. As you can see, the word simp is a slang insult for men who are seen as too attentive and submissive to women, especially out of the failed hope of winning some entitled
Are you guys feeling the masculine energy exude off this individual? Are you guys feeling it? Because I'm not.
sexual attention or activity from them. Essentially, what us millennials called the nice guy. But here's the problem. I have seen the term be used for men who are decent human beings and care about women as well as equal rights, suggesting that no man would say any of this unless they expected something in return. How sad. For this reason, I refuse to allow this word into my lexicon. Just a little update. You're not cool if you don't respect people. The word simp is the
Oh my gosh. We need to find these male feminists. Let me put in hashtag male feminist. I want to see men that are trying to go against the patriarchy. Hashtag male feminist. Oh God. Women are not funny. What should I put in? Male feminist 2022.
It's men's fault that women get periods, and my dick is evil. Yeah, I think a woman should get paid the same as a man for the same job. Of course women have the right to smoke while they're pregnant. I mean, provided they haven't burnt the dinner for that day. I mean, if they've done that, you know, it's men's fault that women get periods. And
Retarded. It's not even funny. I want to see down. Let's see what patriarchy brings. Let's see all the people that I want to see the men that are against patriarchy. Let's find some men here. Let's see here.
Ladies, this information that I'm about to share in this video is being suppressed. Every time I make a post about the origins of things like marriage and romantic love, those posts never get more than a few thousand views. And that's by design, because this information is groundbreaking and the patriarchy doesn't want you to have access to it. If you learned something in this video, please like, comment, share, repost, get
marketplace for women. Because they didn't have the resources and the status and the opportunity that most women are looking for in their partners, they invented an intangible, romantic love that they argued was even more special and valuable than all of that mere stuff. It's kind of a spell that romantic lovers attempt to cast over their love objects. However, it's a tenuous, fragile spell that can really be broken at any time. So romantic love actually works only to the extent that the romantic lover succeeds in drawing the love object away from anything that would remind her, essentially, that the emperor has no clothes. Sort of attempting to draw.
What? A love spell is a romantic love partner pulling the love object away. What is this retard male feminist talking about?
Draw the woman away from the world into this little universe of two, where everything that we need is in each other's eyes. Forget about everything else. Look only at me. It's a hypnotic spell whose objective is to lure the love object away from anything that could break the spell. That's why romance is generally a strategy for those who can't compete successfully in the world yet. A group that is overpopulated by young men. It's very, very hard to be a young man in this world, let me tell you. They're incompetent and inexperienced, so men can't do anything with them. And they're poor and low status, so women don't want anything with them. No young man is the king. And if they can't rule in the real world, one of their sexual strategies is to kind of hypnotize women with the fantasy of romantic love into following them out of the real world and into the universe of two, where he can be king. Do you understand now?
We've been
So a trick of the patriarchy is monogamy. Got it. Okay.
So I made a video on how the patriarchy is bad for everyone. And whenever I do that, obviously a bunch of dudes are going to show up and be like, there is no patriarchy, or my life sucks, how am I benefiting, or whatever. I usually ignore these comments because my videos are very thorough. So if somebody wants to understand a concept I'm talking about, it's not difficult to do so. The only time people have a hard time with my videos is if they don't want to get it. I can give you the information, but I cannot understand it for you. But somebody tagged me and actually asked me to break down this comment that somebody left on my IG. You can pause to read it. Here's the rest of it. You can pause to read. Just a bunch of shit to say that men's life sucks. So how is there a patriarchy? But real quick, I want you to think back to the last time that women were basically in charge of everything, where they set the policies and the rules, the social expectations, they controlled the money and all that kind of stuff. Think back.
Let's see. No culture that survived and had a written language, to my understanding. So none in history. There's certainly examples of sort of matriarchies, but they tended to be tribal. They tended to be illiterate. They had no written language, and we don't know a lot about them. So it doesn't seem like they're very successful.
Think back to the last time that was the case. Was it any time ever? No? Okay, good. Now think about the last time that men were largely in charge of everything. The government, the finances, social expectations. When was the last time that men were the leaders? Was it the whole time? Okay, good. This list is a result of that structure. Court proceedings put in place by men back in times when men were the only people who could practice the law. Toxic masculinity doesn't allow for asking for help. So a lot of men.
What he's highlighting was my point at the beginning, that weak, effeminate beta males allowed all this stuff to happen. If that men were still traditional, we wouldn't have many of the things that occurred in the second half of the 20th century. So he's making my point. Yes, men allowed it, but those men were weak. And that's why we have the state of the world that we have.
Men feel shamed and don't talk about stress or depression, leads to a lot of unaliving. For centuries, men would not allow women to work dangerous jobs. And even now, those jobs are hostile towards women. Mostly men do them. Mostly men die from them. They also wouldn't allow women to go to war. Women had to sneak in to go to war. Men are more likely to be.
Would he really make the case that women are good warriors? Surely not. Surely that's not his argument.
Victims of homicide. Men are more likely to be victims of crime. Men are also more likely to commit all of those crimes. Like 72% of crimes done here in America are done by men. Men are the victims.
He should do a breakdown of the demographic crime statistics in America and see what he comes up with.
Victims of other men. The FBI put that chart out on their website. Men discriminated in universities that are run by men. Men are going to jail longer in a court system and justice system that is run by men. Bro, you are mad at the same structure that women are trying to get rid of. This list is long, but if you're complaining about court policies, if you're complaining about social expectations, if you're complaining about crime, bro, you are complaining about the patriarchy. Because while you can say you're head of the household and your name gets passed down through generations, and while you can walk around late at night and not worry about getting kidnapped, or you can go to the club and not have to cover your drink, all of this is still a problem for you. So there's some privileges that you have, some shit that you don't got to deal with because men are the ones in charge. But there's a shit ton of other stuff that you do got to deal with for the exact same reason. So when women are saying, let's dismantle this whole shit, why are you fighting them? So I made a video on how the patriarchy is bad for everyone.
Wow.
Here's a huge lie of the patriarchy that I fell for a long time. It's the idea that men just inherently need respect. And so therefore, if your partner, your wife, anybody brings a message to you and it's not delivered with respect and decorum and politeness, that therefore the message can be disregarded. What a joke. You probably heard the quote from Laurel Thatcher Ulrich that well-behaved women seldom make history. I wonder why that is, right? It's because men will not hear anything that is delivered with politeness in a culture that reinforces constantly the power dynamic that we are in charge, right? So everything else that's delivered with decorum is able to be easily dismissed, right? Because now we're just chatting, we're just having a night, we're just having a friendly debate. And whatever your idea is not my idea, and we can agree to disagree. And because I am the one in power, I get to do what I want to do. And if you come at me with any level of intensity or passion, then oh my gosh, you're just an emotional creature and you need to be under control and put in check. How sad. In fact, we did put women literally in mental institutions for decades because they were speaking up, and we called them insane.
The majority of the majority of people in mental institutions were men, though. So that was not a gendered. I mean, mental institutions were a prop of the patriarchy against women. What? Oh my gosh, this guy is. This is exactly what I was looking for.
There's insanity here, but it was never the women. Never. And this played out so sadly in my own life, because I have an incredible partner who was a badass and so talented, but I couldn't see her because she had been told that she couldn't speak up for her needs necessarily. And she also assumed, rightly, that somebody who really loves her would be leaning in with curiosity and would want to know what she was thinking. And so when she would bring up an idea that was uncomfortable to my own fragility, I would debate it. And if she did get passionate, I would say, you need to calm down. We're just talking here. And no surprise, eventually she stopped telling me the things that were important to her. And when I finally discovered that years later, there's some things you can't undo. And I don't know if we'll be able to repair our communication. I think we're on the path to do that. I don't know if we'll be able to repair our intimacy. That may be irreparable. So I just hope that somebody else can hear that. Somebody else can see this and do better. Do better.
So basically, she lost respect for him and stopped communicating to him, and that was the fault of the patriarchy. That's what I pulled from that. What did you guys get from all that prattle? Not a whole lot. Not a whole lot. We got a few super chats that came in over on the Dono chat. Ed Poe throws in $10. Thank you so much, Ed Poe. He said, I really appreciate how you always bring whatever topic you're covering back to Christ. You're a great ambassador for orthodoxy. Thank you, brother. Well, thank you, Ed Poe. That's very kind of you. And that's the goal of this channel, is it always comes back to orthodoxy. It always comes back to Christ, because nothing can exist without God. Anonymous throws in $5. Thank you very much, Anonymous. He says, this is why secular manosphere guys say to have X amount of partners, but religious virtues will prevent ending up like that simp without engaging in degeneracy that won't help necessarily. But religious virtues will prevent ending up like the simp without engaging in degeneracy that won't help. Yeah, I agree with you, Anonymous. $5 super chat. Thank you, bro. I do agree with that. No, if you have religious virtues and values and you stand up for those, a woman's going to respect you because she knows that you're not going to put up with certain things. You can be attentive, you can listen, you can be a good husband, a good boyfriend, a good fiance, but you also have to have a masculine edge. You also have to have purpose. You also have to have a direction. And so, yeah, I think a traditional Christian lifestyle provides you all of that stuff. But you have to make sure you're in a traditional church. Dano throws in $3.99. He says, and I wish I knew that sooner. I was referring to Mick the Simp, by the way. Mick the Simp. I'm not familiar with. You guys know who Mick the Simp is? I've never heard of Mick the Simp. Somebody tell me, if you guys in the live chat, if you guys understand who Mick the Simp is. If it's a thing, I'll pull it up, but I have no idea who Mick the Simp is. And then over on Streamlabs, we had a super chat come in from Dr. Vagisil, throws in $3, says public school is partly to blame for simps because you are punished for making mistakes and don't learn actual skills. True. Nobody learns actual skills in school anymore. Treated like defective women. And if guy doesn't have obstacles he overcomes, then he is broken mentally. Yeah, I totally agree with that, Dr. Vagisil. Thank you very much, brother, for the support. All right. We got to find another male feminist. Where's another man? The patriarchy is rebranding. Let's hear this.
By 2030 or something, 50% of women will be without a man. That's the direction we're heading, because two part of the problem. The men that are looking for those traditional values are starting to go overseas, and then two, the other half of the men are just checking out completely. They don't want to deal with women at all. So this is going to be a big issue that women are going to deal with in the future as their options dwindle.
These motherfuckers are trying to reverse Uno us. Lady, they're trying to reverse Uno us. I will say this over and over again on this app until it reaches the far corners of Chicago West's internet. The patriarchy is upside down, inside out day, every day. It is backwards day, every day. All of the negative traits that the patriarchy ascribes to women and womanhood and femininity, that's just projection. All of that is just projection of their own insecurities and how they really feel about themselves. Every admirable quality that they try to sell to the public about themselves really belongs to women. One thing about oppressive systems, they will always adapt. And if you're not careful, you'll find yourself living in oppression 2.0, thinking that you're free. Now the patriarchy's out here trying to spin the statistics, talking about so many men have just checked out. We checked out. Women have checked out. I just did a post about the 4B movement in South Korea, which is literally a whole entire movement of women checking out. He's trying to sell the notion of past.
She looks really, really happy, doesn't she? She looks really happy with her life and the fact that she's checked out. No thanks. I think you're going to have a bit of a problem finding somebody who wants to put up with that. Wakanda Part 2. Yeah, the patriarchy saves women from exactly this. And so here's the thing that maybe, again, it's funny, the brain rot where everything that exists in the world is due to the problems of the patriarchy. Well, men that want traditional relationships will find traditional relationships. It's going to be harder, as we've already seen. It is more difficult, but they're going to find what they're looking for. Whereas the women, they're going to have a much tougher time in the West finding those men because they're going to find what they're looking for elsewhere. So let's see if we can find another male feminist. Oh my gosh.
Women are so delusional and have such inflated ego.
Well, that's true.
Right? Is that now below average women are rejecting average men.
Hey there. Not sure how I got on incel TikTok. Get me out. This whole idea that women rejecting men.
I'm so glad our male feminist is back. This is perfect.
Is like a systemic issue that men are facing. It's ridiculous. In like every context, it's ridiculous. First off, how do you determine who is an average or below average looking man or woman?
I think you just look at them and compare them to what would be deemed the most beautiful and the least attractive.
How is that determined? Is it conventional attraction based on a Eurocentric beauty standard? Is it how well they fit and obey the rules of a patriarchal ideology? Is it how well they do or do not thrive under capitalism? And are these the same across the board? If I consider somebody below average, does that mean everybody will consider that same person below average? I think you know the answers to these questions. What you don't know is how to talk to women. Because if you talk to women, then you know that there are no hard set rules and women date who they like. Even if it's who they like in that moment, that's generally how women decide who they want to date or sleep with, is who they like. There are no rules. There are guys who are not conventionally attractive, who pull plenty of women. There are guys who are overweight, who pull plenty of women. There are guys who are broke, who pull plenty of women. There's guys with combinations of the three who pull plenty of women. And then there's guys like you who think that by virtue of you existing, women should want to date you. You genuinely think there's a systemic issue because women you don't find attractive do not want to date you. Your logic is that if you don't find a woman attractive, then they shouldn't be rejecting men that they don't find attractive. And that doesn't make any fucking sense. What's crazy is the guys who talk.
Okay, I can't even hardly listen to that dude talk. I can't deal with it. Oh, here's somebody talking about feminism.
One of the most insidious and ridiculous effects of the patriarchy is literally women paying 50-50.
There are sociological studies that show married men are happier than men who are not married versus married women being unhappier than women who aren't married. So it is fair and accurate to say that marriage is
I've seen research that says the exact opposite, that married women are typically happier than single women.
an advantage to men and a disadvantage to women in terms of happiness.
A lot of men.
I think men.
But Islam's
Trigger
quite
warning.
patriarchal, isn't it? I mean, doesn't the Quran say that men have authority over women?
Well, don't they? I mean, men are the ones who have been oppressing you all this time, right? I mean, according to your own narrative, men have been running the show. The feminists are asking for their so-called rights from who exactly? Look, if you didn't have what you call patriarchy, then what you would have is a hell on earth for women. Because clearly, women do not have the power to coerce men, to force men, to make men deal with them this way or that way.
Based, this is I dig this. I totally agree with that, and that's the point that again people have made throughout debates that women talking about rights. Who do you get your rights from? Who can enforce the rights? Who can maintain the rights? It's the exact same thing. It's men. Women can do all they want, but they cannot physically coerce men to do what they desire, and that's why the simp is a problem, because the simp is capitulating.
If you're out somewhere and a man starts to chat you up and you don't want to be chatted up, what do? You tell him, I have a boyfriend, I'm married, and he goes away. You have to conjure up an imaginary man to get him to back off, because 9 times out of 10, only a man can keep another man in check, because men are inherently more dangerous than women.
Fact.
Instead of patriarchy, replace that word with bodyguard. What makes more sense? For you to be my bodyguard or for me to be your bodyguard? Who do you think is more capable of protecting who? From who? If men didn't protect women, who would? Why, men would do whatever they wanted. And isn't your bodyguard responsible for you? Shouldn't you listen to him if he says, for example, don't go here, don't go there, or let's take this route instead of that route because it's safer? Isn't that authority? But he's doing it for you. Would you feel resentment about that authority? That's irrational. Look, you cannot dismiss the importance of physicality, human physicality. We're physical beings. Technology does not level the field the way you think it does. Let's say you have a business meeting and you have the meeting in a coffee shop. And while you're there, during the meeting, it gets late. It gets very late. And then the meeting is over. Your phone battery is dead. Coffee shop is closed. The client has left. And you came by Uber. Now you're alone in the dark with no way home. If it's me, I'll just walk home. If it's you, you would have been getting nervous and worried throughout the entire meeting, the later it got, worrying about how you're going to get home. You're not going to be worried about being assaulted by a gang of women. And if you were walking the street by yourself late at night and you see a man coming towards you, which one of the two of you is more likely to be afraid? Who's going to be scared of who? But see, you in the West have confused this. The feminists have confused this. The red pillars have confused this power imbalance with superiority. We don't do that because we don't attach that kind of value to it. It just is what it is. The power imbalance, that literal physical power imbalance, that imbalance in the ability to coerce and exert force and to be violent, is just a fact and a reality of the power imbalance between men and women. But your culture is in love with power. It's in love with force. It's in love with violence. So to you, whoever has the greater capacity for violence, whoever has the greater capacity for being dangerous, then that person is better. The one who can exert his will is better. Whoever has.
We've talked about this philosophically in regards to the intellectual history, and that the cul-de-sac, the dead end of Western philosophy that leads into postmodern relativism and the rejection of universal truth claims leads to people like Michel Foucault, the pedophile who got AIDS at a bathhouse in San Francisco when he was a guest lecturer at Berkeley. He believed that everything was about power because truth is now relative in the mind of the academy. The only thing that exists is power. And to his point, now everybody perceives everything in power dynamics. And just because men have power in certain ways, they view that as a superiority. And that's where feminism is correctly, inherently anti-men, anti-masculinity, anti-patriarchy, it's not about equality. It's about a reversal of the power dynamics, which again is a fantasy. It can never happen.
Has the power to force people to do something is better, and whoever is weaker is less. It's because you admire power so much, and you admire force, and you admire the ability to coerce, that you find yourself resenting that men have authority over women, or the idea, the concept of men having authority over women, because you think it's unfair. You think that women are being deprived. But remove that authority and see how deprived you'll be. Remove that authority and you will be in danger. You will be deprived of your safety. You'll be deprived of your security, your freedom, and maybe your life.
But
and that's exactly what's happened in the West with men now in female spaces under the guise of the alphabet group. So, guys, I think that's going to do it. I can't watch much more of this the feminist stuff. It's too irritating. But I want to thank everybody for being here. Smash that like, guys. Let me just double check, make sure I didn't miss anybody. Marcus Antonio, thank you so much, brother. He gifted another 5 COTEL Crew memberships. Really appreciate you, Marcus, and all your support. God bless, brother. And Rough Hands, shout out to Rough Hands, a COTEL Crew member for 1 year. Let's go. Thank you, Rough Hands. Really appreciate you, bro. Really appreciate all the support from everybody tonight. Let me just double check, make sure we didn't miss anybody. And let me check the dono chat. All right. Guys, I think that's going to do it. I'm going to be back tomorrow night with BLA. We're going to be doing a movie review of potentially is it the greatest movie of all time? We'll be looking at Citizen Kane. Citizen Kane, a movie from, when was that produced? 1941 was the release date. So during World War II, 1941, sometimes referred to as the greatest movie of all time or the greatest film ever made. So we are going to be doing a movie review, me and BLA, on that movie tomorrow night at 7:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope to see you all there. Should be a really good one. Austin Purcell throws in $2. Thank you very much, Austin. Really appreciate the support, my man. God bless. And guys, I will see you tomorrow night. So as always, until next time, God bless.